enthusiasm. I've got a job for you if you're looking to keep busy. Here are the details.
Greetings and welcome to another episode of Soul Talk, where we talk to our citizens and members of the community. One of these days, I'm going to get that right. How are you doing, Griffin? Today is April 28, 2022. What are you up to, Griffin?
I'm good. I'm fine. Busy day. But other than that, just ready for another week of Soul Talk. How about you? How was your week?
My week has been, well, it's been interesting. I had PAX East last week, had Bar Citizen last week, the first Bar Citizen in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched a few movies. I watched Cyrano with Peter Dinklage, and I didn't realize it was a musical going on, but here we are. It was okay.
Oh, okay. I was thinking, the question is, did you enjoy it? Yeah.
Cyrano, yeah, it was okay. It's no Hamilton, put it that way.
Oh, well, Hamilton's Hamilton. I
Yeah,
wouldn't try
no,
to compare too much to
it's
Hamilton.
not fair to really compare anything to Hamilton.
Yeah, I wouldn't pay too.
It's always
Yeah,
gonna happen.
exactly. Well, that's good. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Oh,
Speaking
and
of last week. Oh, yeah.
oh, I'm gonna say Marvel Future Revolution is introducing the Scarlet Witch, but as a playable character, but
Okay.
she's not coming in until after Doctor Strange is in theater.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
What were you gonna say?
Well, no, I was gonna say, just speaking of, you had a busy weekend last week. I know you had some things you probably wanted to show us from both PAX East and just your whole weekend. Yeah.
Yeah,
You want to talk about
we
that?
did.
We want to do that after your thingy, or you want to do that now?
Yeah, we can
You know
do it
what? Let's
now.
do that. Let's do it now. Yeah, we'll do your thingy and then
do
we'll
it
bring
now.
folks in. Yeah.
Because yeah. So this is the PAX East stuff. We did the Bar Citizen stuff over on Sunday. So I'm
Mhm.
gonna run a slideshow.
Okay.
So these are some of the pictures I took. I didn't take that many pictures, but
Mhm.
I took quite a few videos. But this is the wormwood stuff that I showed last week,
Mhm.
last Thursday.
Yeah.
And I went back. I kept going back because the quality is so good, but it's so expensive. And that's
Uh-huh.
the mass spec that I showed. And this is
Mhm.
one of the panels that I went to. Let me pause it on here if it'll let me. It didn't let me,
Okay.
but I'll full screen it. Maybe it won't. There you go. Okay,
Okay.
so this is one of the panels I went to. It's called Intersection of Diversity in Gaming. It's about
Mhm.
diversity in gaming, both as characters and as creators. And these these guys are some of the creators in the industry for making games and in various industries.
Okay.
So they had what?
That's it. Okay.
Okay, and it was an interesting panel. I can show you the I'm fast forwarding trying to get to the thing, but it says join us as we discuss the changing landscape of video game industry, the impact contribution of people of color in gaming history and spaces, ranging from esports, marketing, development, and music. Talk with some of the
Mhm.
people making a difference in the gaming world and beyond from their perspective.
Mhm.
So yeah, I enjoyed it. One of the guys, I think the guy on the far left. No, the guy on second from the left. He's
Mhm.
Filipino, and one
Okay.
of the things he brought up was the lack of Filipino in gaming or media in general. After the
Okay.
panel, I went up to him because I was curious. I asked him, "So, what Filipino characters are there?" And he
Mhm.
said that Ned from Spider-Man is Filipino.
Oh, okay.
And you would never know that, right? Because
No?
there's this one time where you see his mother speaking Filipino, but
Mhm.
it's never subtitled or it's never it's translated, but it's never said that she's talking Filipino.
Right.
He's talking Filipino.
Oh, okay.
So I
Cool.
thought that was a good panel.
Let me ask you a
Um,
question. I've noticed that over the past few couple years, you're showing me that they're talking about this with PAX, but I've also seen that Twitch has been having these panels too, talking about diversity just in general, right? I mean,
mhm.
that's just kind of become a topic of understanding. And, it's always interesting to hear the different things that have both positive and negative, right? When it comes to diversity within gaming communities. There are sometimes things people have great experiences. Some people have really rough experiences in a field that's kind of like gaming has always been kind of play. Well, to me, it's always been that kind of place that brings people together, right? Uh, and I sometimes wonder why is there that there's this one unifying thing that brings people together, but why do we still have issues in some cases, of access or acknowledgement or accessibility, whatever the case may be. I don't know if they talked about any of that at these panels, but there's always the issue of people saying, well, there's not enough of, but I'm also kind of curious as to what can we do to make things better so that people are
Yeah, they
received,
covered some of the stuff too, or what can make things better. Unfortunately, I
Mhm.
don't know if there's a recording. There was a recording. Someone was recording, but I don't know where it's available. So if I can find it,
Mhm.
I'll link it to you, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll tweet it out.
Gotcha. Yeah, just it's just to me, it's just an interesting observation that the industry is taking time out to have panels and discussions. Which I think is cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
I said to the Filipino guy, one of the things I look for is people with disability as the main character rather than the
Yeah.
side character.
Yeah.
Because the one big one that I can think of is How to Train Your Dragon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And as far as I know, that's one of the few, at least one of the few that put it in a positive light. Because there was like,
Where they've done it. Yeah.
yeah,
You know
there
what
was
I think about movie wise, and even though it was kind of a mixed bag in how they did it, but they did do it, was Avatar. The
Yeah.
movie Avatar.
Right.
That was one. I mean, they didn't highlight it enough in a more balanced way. Of course, most of the time he was able to be mobile and move around, but the fact that they used him as the brother that passed away and he ended up doing it was always
my issue
pretty interesting.
with that particular plot line is that he was looking for a way to become whole, quote unquote,
Right.
whole again.
And that's what I meant by they didn't put
Yeah.
enough emphasis on that other side of him, because they could have resolved it in so many cool ways. You know what I mean? Of balancing it instead of shifting it all to him, being mobile and doing things and having the activity of his limbs. They could have spun that as so many, a lot of different ways they could have spun it, and they didn't. You missed. I guess you could say it was like a missed opportunity, to me. But that's just me.
and there was this movie with Khaleesi from Game of Thrones, Emilia Clarke. She did a movie with a person with an actor with a person playing with a disability, and it's spoilers, but it's like 10 years old now. But he would rather die than live with a disability. So there's that in Hollywood media too.
Yeah. Okay, well, sounds good.
Yeah,
Is there any more video?
in diversity in gaming. These are the panelists that were there, and this is one of the booths that they had in PAX East. They had a racing game. I believe it was CSR, but this particular booth is all about cooling, water cooling. So all the pipes and everything. That's what that was.
Wow.
I didn't want to take my turn at this because the controller, you need two hands to control it. So I didn't get into it.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting.
What?
Oh, go ahead.
No, this is a one of the raffles I entered. You could get a legendary N7 helmet. I didn't win.
And they only gave away one?
No, they gave one for each day. So it's
for
like
each day?
Thursday to Sunday.
Oh, okay. Now, I was going to say,
the other panel that I went to. I could look up the name real quick, but
can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? How much, when I went to PAX last time, PAX East, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't what I was expecting because I'd never gone before. Didn't know very much about it other than I knew that there was some, it was gaming, right? When I went, I would probably say it was 60% gaming, as in tabletop gaming, and then maybe 30% everything else, 30% video game there. Where's the balance now to you? Is it shifting? Is it remaining the same? Is tabletop maybe 50% of it? Is video gaming growing in it, or is it small? Because there weren't as many video vendors there that I was expecting when I went that year.
No,
that was in 2017 or something.
There were even fewer this year. I took that's one of the videos that I have. I can bring that up real quick. So let me take that out and bring this up and bring up the video. But that is Gearbox. Hold a sec. Okay, so this is the Thursday attendance. What I did was I went. There's a bridge on top of everybody, so I went on the bridge to take a picture.
Yeah, the overhead bridge, where you can look down. Yeah, you can see everything.
You look down.
I remember the bridge.
So you can tell it's pretty empty. So that's the north side, and then coming up is the south side. So it was pretty empty, and that was on Thursday.
Wow.
So I this is like between 5:10 and 5:20 p.m. I did it all 4 days, and I just to show the difference. So this coming up is this is Friday. So you can tell there's more people. Well, you can't really tell there's more people, but there's a lot more people on Friday. And then Saturday was packed. Saturday was
Yeah, the
sold
weekend.
out.
Yeah, that's understandable. Weekend.
I was surprised the Saturday sold out this year, but it did.
Really, it was full with the year out. I mean, that was the day. I mean, figure people on the weekend because folks are off. You know, people who can't take off work aren't going to do the earlier days. And the passes, and those are the passes that go first. The weekend passes go first.
Yeah, the Saturday, the Friday was still being sold. Saturday sold out.
Yeah.
And so this could be Saturday. This is Saturday, so you can tell a big difference here.
Big difference, yeah. Okay.
So yeah, but to answer your question, there's a lot more tabletop this year because they want many video game vendors. There's a lot more indie this year too because a lot of the AAA brands didn't show up. Matter of fact, some people just had a placard, not a placard, one of those cardboard things that
and that was
says,
it.
Oh, you can get 15% off if you use this Pack East code and stuff like that.
Wow. That's interesting, considering this is kind of quote unquote post-COVID to a certain degree. I would have almost thought they'd have been chomping at the bit to be there. No, the companies would have been.
They're still taking a wait and see. Next year, they'll be back and forth, I think.
Okay. Wow, okay.
And I think coming up is Sunday. Yep, this is Sunday. So this is the last day.
Okay.
And it's pretty empty again. But there is one thing I wanted to show you. I think hopefully it's coming up, but I believe it is the
You did the 4-day pass, right?
Yeah, I got the 4-day pass. Yes.
You did the 4-day pass, right?
Yes, the 4-day pass. So here's something I wanted to show you. I took a tweet of this also, but the Intel had a robot. And people were taking pictures of it, and it's fully articulating, and it talked, and yes, it was awesome. So I sent a tweet out to RSI saying, I hope the Titan suit is at least as awesome as this is. And coming up is the guy inside the suit, so you can see him. You can see the behind the scenes of him getting out of it.
Okay, so wait a minute now. You sold me on two different things. At first, you said it was a robot fully articulating. Yeah. That's not a robot fully articulating. That is it's articulating in a robot suit.
Yeah. I didn't know. I didn't know until I got the second video.
Oh, okay. Because the way you said it, I'm like, oh wow, they had an actual robotic thing there. That's pretty cool. No. See, look at what Jade said. Look at what Jade said. No, that's no robot.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
That's funny.
Oh cool. Yeah. So his name is Core Robot, and the other thing was called Chippy. It was a chip, and a guy inside a chipset suit.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha. I got one of my pictures. Gotcha. This is one of the enforcers, and he was like, not really patrolling, but standing guard. So I'm like, I want to be him when I grow up. He looks intimidating too. So props to him and all the enforcers this year. Gotcha. Oh, this is the picture I told you about the Corbot. Oh, and I kept on going back to that Wormwood place. They were selling pens. Pencil, mechanical pencil. The cheapest one is $65. I'm like, yeah. There's nothing I could buy there.
Yeah, custom made mechanical pencils. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Pretty neat.
Oh, Wonderland had this guy. I think it's a Screech or something. I forgot the name of it, but yeah, pretty cute. Oh, and these people look sus. Wait till they come on the stream. These people look sus. What do you think?
I don't know who those are.
You don't know who those are?
I don't know who those are.
You play the game.
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty cool. Very cool.
And everyone was taking pictures. This is the Asus booth. I tried to win from them on 3 days. The only thing I got was the hat. And I got a water bottle too. This is the Asus booth.
Mm-hmm.
This XBG booth. I tried to win from them every day for 4 days, and
Nice.
I wasn't able to win anything. Oh yeah. Oh, okay. So, the second panel that I went to on Sunday was hip hop and video game, and the intersection that has helped define the generation.
Mm.
So it's probably too small for you to read there, but I'll read it. Say, both hip hop and as a music genre and video games as an industry, as an entertainment medium, came into being around a similar time to experience comparable trajectories, both joining the forefront of entertainment in the late 90s, climbing into points of dominance in recent decades. Founded by indie and BGM hip-hop stalwart Mega Ran and WWE star Xavier Wood, and the Nerdy People of Color, NPCC, was formed to advocate for more spaces for marginalized groups and nerdy spaces primarily via performances and content that engages aforementioned medium. Members of the NPCC will discuss the link between hip-hop, video games, and their trajectories and their implications on diversity and representation in video games-centered spaces.
Did you sit in on it?
Again, if I can find a link to the video, I'll show it to you.
Did you sit in on that?
I got there late. I was
Okay.
only there for like the last 15 minutes.
Okay.
All right. So,
Very cool. You had a busy weekend.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta tell you, by Monday I was worn out. I didn't want to speak to any more people. I just wanted to be myself. By Tuesday I was back to normal.
I'm sure you were. That's cool though. Very cool.
Yeah, I still have fun. All right. So, oh yeah. So I do have a thing I can do. Are you ready for it?
Yeah.
You bring people down?
Fire away. Well, I always get my shot first, then they come down. I only bring them down when I'm stumped, which is most of the time. So
most of the time. I think you're gonna be stumped this time, so we will be ready.
All right, I'm ready.
You're a man looking at the world to a jump point. You spent your entire life trying to widen it. Your work saved the lives of thousands. What if I told you that path is one of many? You wonder what I see in your future. Possibility. There are other ways to save lives. So much you don't know. So much you don't know.
That it?
Yep, that it.
Doctor Strange?
Yep, first one.
Ha 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 ha.
That was the ancient talking to him. Actually, it's from the trailer.
Oh, it's from the trailer. Okay, well, there you go. Okay, I got one, y'all. I got one. It only took 15 episodes, but I got one. I got one.
Yeah, I had nothing.
You had nothing. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Wow. Well, listen, we have Admiral Kusanagi, Fist to Face, Go Mob, Jade, Calrati, Pops in Space, and Spitfire. And anybody else who wants to join us, click on that link that you see in our, what's that called? The little comment more screen right beneath us. And you can join us as well and join the roundtable conversation tonight. How's everybody doing?
All right.
Doing all right.
Good.
Hey.
You're doing better than me, Griff. I'm 0 for 41, so.
No, you had a couple of them, but you got Pootie Tang.
No, but that's because we watched it together, and that doesn't count.
That counts.
That and what was it, the other one we watched with him? CB4.
Yeah,
CB4,
they
yeah.
don't count. They don't count. It's cheating.
No, we kind of knew he was going to do it already. That's right.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I had a different video I wanted to show. It's from Hyperlake Brinker. It's one of the videos that I saw at PAX East, but I think I'll skip it. But one of the first things, before we get to the sneak peek, I'll pull that up and show everybody on the screen. So, Final Fantasy creators is asking what's up with the new $11,000 or almost $12,000 statue. That's the USD price. So obviously, it costs something different in yen, but it's not even life size. So I'll show you quickly what it looked like. So this is a statue, and it's $11,600, and you can see how big it is compared to a person. So it sits on their desk. So I mean, I think like Square Enix is getting into the expensive, the expensive market.
I don't know if I've ever seen anybody produce. That's more artwork. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody produce anything on that scale before. Have you seen something like that before? And I'm talking
I've
about
seen-
legitimate. That's not no plastic. You know what I
No,
mean?
it's
Thing
not
that you pay
plastic.
$100
No, it's not
for a
plastic. Like I was
premium.
gonna
You know what I
say,
mean?
The closest thing I've seen is Unicorn from Transformers,
Okay.
but that was
Yeah.
plastic. That was plastic.
Maybe not
so-
scale, but of that detail and quality.
Mhm, right.
You know, that crosses the realm of from being a
Mhm.
toy or a collectible to that's art.
Mm-hmm. And probably only one of them too.
I don't know.
Or
Or limited edition. Or limited edition. Or limited edition.
Yeah.
Or limited edition for that price. And there will be somebody who'll grab it. Guaranteed. Guaranteed it'll be gone. It'll be gone in no time flat.
Yeah, all them 890 jump owners, man. They should be able to get that easy.
Yeah. Okay.
So my point being was that Star Citizen is not the only game that sells expensive item. But granted, this is not a virtual item.
I was going to say Star Citizen ain't selling nothing like that.
No, wait a minute. But look, fastcart. Look behind you. If you had that ship behind you, and it was like the size of a table and $10,000, would people buy it?
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Some
People wanted to buy, what was it? The Kraken?
The Kraken. Well, people wanted to buy the Kraken.
Card?
Yep. Wanted to buy that
People
model of
wanted
the Kraken.
to buy that.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Babe, we got to clear off the guest room. I got a Kraken.
No.
And you got a divorce too, right?
Call JRDNF and seeing if they could 3D if they could model you a Kraken bed.
A Kraken what?
Kraken bed.
Oh, bed.
I remember those. I remember
The Pioneer bed will work better.
Yeah.
Stop that,
probably.
man.
Hey,
That blanket.
I don't.
Hey,
I don't-
break
I don't-
owners have to look forward to something.
I don't remember what the price was on the Kraken when they did that. I know that when they did the bike was it 20,000, 25,000 when they did the Yellow Jacket.
I don't recall.
And I don't remember how much. But the Kraken was about 12 feet long. It was big,
It was big.
really big. And there were people who really wanted to. That were asking like, can they get one made or purchase it because they were really, it was a one kind of thing, and people, like you said, they're willing to pay the money for it.
As far as I know, it's in one of the CIG offices.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a beautiful piece. That's a beautiful piece of the Final Fantasy piece. A lot of detail in that.
Final Fantasy 6. If people weren't up on their Final Fantasy lore, but that's a Terra basically. I'm riding on her Armatech, Magitech. All right. So up next we have the sneak peek. So the subtitle is "I work the angles sharp and precise." Does anyone recognize that song lyric?
Work
Oh,
the
you do?
angles by Dilated Peoples, 90s hip hop. I work the angles nice, sharp and precise. Dilated Peoples, so you better build twice.
I had to look that up because I was clueless, and I did listen to the song. I'm like, oh, okay. So yeah. So what do people think?
Just a gun, isn't it?
Wait, Admiral, you're the one that said you wanted to see more weapons last week, right?
Yeah, but that's just a gun, right?
Yeah, but that's what most weapons in Star Citizen are.
I mean, it's got the target, it's got like the the scope on top of the counter. It's probably the counter, like the ammo counter there.
Maybe it's weird though.
Yeah, it's a weird place to put a scope.
I mean, it's kind of like it's more like an ammo counter. Like there's a couple guns like that.
Yeah, but you wouldn't put an ammo counter that deep down the rifle, would you? I mean, it's like that's almost centered down the rifle.
I mean, honestly,
we don't know how long the thing is.
And honestly, if you think about it, that could have like a little Picatinny rail on top. Your sight could sit on top of that, to where that ammo counter is not too far out of vision.
I mean, the front, you can see the front right there, the top right. That looks like the end of it. Looks like you got the stock for your hand.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
I don't know.
Like
that one's got me. That one's got me.
Is anyone familiar with the manufacturer? So, could you take a guess what manufacturer this was?
Gemini?
Yeah.
Maybe?
I've got an alternate idea of what that could be.
Think it's
What?
you think it's like that array that you pick stuff up with?
No, I'm thinking it's a cutter.
You think that's a cutter?
Bigger version of the what do you call that thing we have?
Breakout Industrial Multi-Tool?
That's
the
an interesting
multi-tool.
idea.
Only because of the lyric. That's the only thing that's. But it, angle, sharp and precise could be a sniper, a sharpshooter too. But I'm thinking about if it was something that was meant to cut bulkheads. Oh, wait a minute! The salvage gun.
Yeah, that's what they were
Yeah.
talking about.
I don't
The
think so.
larger
Is it
version of
front?
the salvage gun, the rifle, because we saw it on his back
Yeah.
when
the
he was
front
using the
kinda give it
small
away.
one.
Okay.
But isn't that already done though? Because this is like gray box.
Chop precise.
The small one, the one we saw in the video was in gray box on his back.
Well, where's that video?
Oh,
He
yeah?
had one in his hand. When he was doing the cut, when he was stripping the ship down, he had a rifle on his back, and it was that or the new gravity one. But there was a weird, different looking rifle on his back. And that title now, working the angle sharp and precise, would make sense to me. But that's what my pitch is. It's the salvage rifle.
We'll see soon enough.
Yeah, we'll pull the
Yeah.
video up later. We'll do it on After Dark, and I'll see if I can find it and show it to you.
I'm already
All right.
searching for it.
Yeah,
The other half of that lyric was you better build twice, so you can take something apart with it.
Well, there you go.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Because like my only take is that what was the name of it again? I work the angle sharp and precise. I mean, that does make sense what you're saying. A short weapon though would allow you to get around angles and engage people. That's the only other thing with that. But I will look for this.
Yeah, look at
this
it.
cutter.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I know what it.
Yeah.
This video,
Kind of.
the
Sort of.
salvage one from a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
when he was stripping the ship down. Yeah,
What else
look
would
at
they
this.
do in that video? Do you remember? Because there's a lot. There's a few.
I think the last video, wasn't it?
It was like the last.
If
or
he had
second
that
last.
gun, the only thing I can say to that, if he had that gun, right, that rifle one to strip it down, why would he use the multi-tool? I would think he would have a gun on his back to protect himself just in case, he ran into
Well,
some
that
trouble.
could have been it too, but the rifle that was on his back, you may have to take a look at it because you're better on weapons than I am. I didn't recognize that weapon. It looked like something. Remember, they showed us a long version of the gravity gun, welding gun. This was a while back. They showed us all those new ones that were rifle length. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
It's like when
originally I
they
thought
showed
it
us
was.
the medical. It was when they first showed us the medical stuff, all that stuff. They showed us all those different ones that they made a small version of and a medium-sized version of. And that's why I was thinking it might have been from that, but I could be wrong. Could be
So
a rifle.
The ammo screen for the gun on the guy's back in the ISC,
Mhm.
it kind of
Different.
fits the same position, but the geometry
It's different.
between it's different.
Okay,
So it's
and
strange
it's
because
not that.
the ammo screen
Tried it.
does fit, but
Mhm.
The only other
Okay.
gun that I thought was similar was the Gallant rifle in terms of
Mhm.
the front, like the very, very front of it. I was
Thanks,
wondering-
Jade. Fastcart Jade says my name is Whammer on the screen.
Oh, oops.
Thank you, guys.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
Whammer's not here this week, guys.
My bad. I'll pick that when it come back. Okay. I'll do
Yeah,
that now.
yeah. There you go. The
so-
plasma cutter. Thank you, Black Sky Legion. Y'all know they got plasma fuel in the game too now. By the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, so somebody, I was talking to somebody, and they were saying that the plasma fuel is actually
Commodity.
supposed to be the same as the hydrogen fuel. Like, so they were like, because what I did was I did a test in the Starfarer, right?
Mhm.
And where I spawned it in Lorville, I filled up 1 tank of hydrogen, and I went to HDMS Edmonds that was right there, and I filled it up. I was like, oh man, and I did it with hydrogen and quantum fuel,
Mhm.
and hydrogen was more expensive at Edmonds, but quantum fuel was cheaper. And I went to another place, and I think I went to Everest, and I did it there, and the prices fluctuated as well. And I was talking about it in chat, and they said, hey, no, what you do is look up, watch the plasma fuel
Mm.
in the things, they just have it coded as plasma fuel. But if you go, you'll see that the prices match up.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it
The
comes up as a commodity now, right? Doesn't it? Doesn't plasma fuel come as a commodity
well,
now?
plasma fuel comes up, matches up to the hydrogen fuel. So
Yeah, but I'm saying is it listed as a commodity now? You know how the list comes up?
On it's listed as a
'Cause it's in the
commodity
Moby
on
glass.
listed as a commodity on the trading journal,
Mhm.
but I don't think you can go and buy it anywhere other than buying hydrogen fuel. What they're saying is there's hydrogen fuel, plasma fuel, actually the same thing. I don't know if
Gotcha.
that's what it's meant to be or if that's just is what it is right now.
I got you.
So
Do you want? If you find a video, do you want to put it on the stream real quick, or
Which video?
the one with the gun? Oh, what do you think? of it?
I'm trying to just take a quick snapshot, and then I'll
Try to snapshot.
post the video.
Cool.
After that.
So, a quick mention on the plasma fuel. From what we know with the fuel shipyard, fuel mechanics, the hydrogen is like a subset of plasma,
Mhm.
because we know that there are other versions that will be eventually coming in, like ammonia, nitrogen, etc. So, like Umar said, it could be like a reflection of that,
Mhm.
and we may see some more fuel types coming online soon enough.
Mhm. Yeah, and they've told us we're going to have other fuel types coming in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Awesome.
So you got the snapshot, Kusanagi? Okay.
Yeah, I got it right there.
All right, let me pull that up real quick. Make sure I got the right Windows selected.
I'll post the clip in a second.
Okay,
Mm.
so
Hmm. Mm.
yeah, that looks different. Well,
No, it doesn't. Not if you.
That's
Not
it.
if you. That's it. Not if you spin it around so that back
Yeah,
upper
see,
corner we were looking
yeah,
at is
yeah.
the back of the gun and not the front of the gun.
Right. Yeah, you're right. Because I was saying because the screenshot we had is in gray box, but this is like colored, so
Looks similar. George Smith
Looks
says,
similar.
"Yeah, we could be wrong. We're just taking stabs at it. It could still be some great rifle. That title could go that way, but." Jade says that second stanza kind of pushes it the other way. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Oh, you know what? That looks a little bit better. Yeah, turn it like 90 degrees.
I can't do that on here.
You want him to do all that?
Hold on, I got figure this out. I'll figure this out. I got this. I got this.
CSI,
okay.
can you pull in on that license plate? Enhance.
Yeah, magnify.
Right.
2.8, enhanced Blade Runner. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Make
So the
something
other-
there that's not there.
Yeah.
The
I
other
got
maker-
this. Hold on.
The other maker I
of
could
Kusanagi.
recommend is Klaus and Warner, because the side geometry, as well as the screen,
Mhm.
as well as the front, is similar to the Gallant energy rifle.
Yes. That's true.
So that's
Yeah,
the
a
only
little
thing I can say
mellow.
from Klaus and Warner.
Yeah. All right, Admiral, you got it ready?
Oh, I'm coming.
No, I'm just gonna move on.
There
real
he goes.
quick,
No,
But,
no,
He got it.
no,
He just
it's right
dropped it.
there.
You just dropped it.
oh, you dropped it? Hold on.
Yeah.
Ah, it's so
Da-da-da.
fast.
Okay. All right.
That's my take on it right there. I posted like 2 different locations. You gotta get
That's a good image.
5 seconds.
That really shows. It looks like that's what it is.
Mhm.
The top rail looks different now that I look at it.
Yeah, no, you need to spin it around the other way.
What are you talking about?
No, in other words, on Fastcart's image, I'm saying that's not. Go back to the other image, Fastcart. I'm saying that the top is not. That's not the front at the top. That's the back.
Yes, we're looking at the same angle.
But
we
the
are?
shoulder stock. Okay. But where's this rail? See,
Well, let's
see, it
let's
looks
look
like
at the rail. Yeah, let's go back to the other picture.
Yeah, so
See
the
the
sight
rail?
rail isn't there on that other.
Yeah,
gun.
the sight
it's
rail,
not.
and then that one. It looks a little off.
Yeah, so maybe not. Okay.
I mean, well, it could be the same thing, but you remember, this one is a work in
With
progress.
white box. Yeah, work in
Yeah, white
progress
box.
versus the other.
So this one,
Or it could
was
just be
more
the same
finalized. So
manufacturer.
it could actually be the same thing. It's just that, this one's more finalized.
If
Or
you look
just
at
it's
the
the same manufacturer.
yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like it weighs like 400 pounds. So I don't know who's carrying
Yeah,
that.
that's true. It does.
Yeah.
but
We
it
don't
does
know
look
what it's
heavy.
made out of. Space age polymers, right?
Space age Jello pudding, chocolate pudding.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, Thrakodox just said the same thing I just said.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So up next, I'm not gonna show this video, but I just wanted to bring it up. But Kusanagi suggested a video from 10 Pound 42, talking about the new Star Citizen CPU King, the
Gotta find it.
58X 3D review. I didn't get a chance to look at the video, but evidently there's a new CPU king for running Star Citizen.
Yeah, the question is, Admiral Kusanagi, how much does the king cost?
It probably costs a decent amount of money, but
Oh, you don't
I
have a
mean,
price
you're
for
looking
us?
at.
Which one is it? Which one are you
I'm
talking
trying to
about?
find the video now.
The
what is it,
5800
Sultan?
X3D.
It's 480, I believe it was.
Yeah, this
It's not
one.
$480.
too bad. It's not
480.
too bad. That's
Yeah,
not too
I
bad.
know it's cheaper. I know it's cheaper than the 5950 and the 5900. So I know
Yeah.
about the 5900.
Way cheaper.
Okay, yeah, it's not too bad.
Mhm.
Yeah, for
But they're
those 890
saying
jump owners, that's nothing.
they're saying
Here we
let's see,
go.
60 FPS and at was this Hurston? 104 FPS on the current 316 build, and 174 FPS on the 317 build. I mean, these are kind of astronomical numbers.
Mm. Interesting.
Yeah, people just have to make sure, because this is specifically on, what is it, L2 cache?
L3,
Nomad,
L3.
no, L3. L3
L3.
cache. Anything that benefits from that, it will help, but other applications that don't benefit from cache,
Yeah,
it will not help.
I'm at her L3 right now, and I was just getting 120 FPS.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes, and I just got a regular 5800X, not the one 3D.
Mm.
This is like when they talk about, everything has been CPU heavy, since I think we've all been following the game. And just as our technology catches up, we're now actually starting to be able to enjoy the game more and more and more.
Mhm.
And so really what, people like, when SIG is going to get done, it's like, well, when is technology going to get to a point where we can actually do what they're trying to do? And we're just coming into, that reality now. And, the bugs are one thing, but when you can actually not have that stuttering and the game should actually be like what appears to be really smooth and lessen the hiccups in the game, and people will play more of it. So
Yeah.
Mm.
I think it's awesome that as they smooth the game out and make it play and run better, more bugs are getting uncovered because they were being covered up by some of the jagged edges.
yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
so they got to go back and like, oh, we never realized that our hit registration was absolute trash until we fixed desync.
Mhm.
And like we had it all tuned to take desync in consideration, and now we've fixed a lot of the ship to ship desync, and oh crap, now the ship's hitbox is actually in front of the ship.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is there's a chance that the ion will become unnerved?
What? Oh, the ion.
It
Oh,
was an ion
Anyway.
joke.
Anyway.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to hit all the Twitter the tweets that I have lined up in one go. So first up, we have this one from RSI. At the particular RSI, we tweeted a picture from the past by citizen from Carbon Tail, and that's me. That Whiskey Priest. That's Pigtails and Sundew and Iron Blade. I couldn't remember his name last time, but that's Iron Blade. I've known him for 5 years, but his name escaped me the other day. Then we have the tweet that I sent today. I got this from Whiskey Priest. He took a group photo. So this is all of it before we started breaking up. This is around 10 p.m. Just before, this is before 8. This is just after 8 o'clock. Because Carbon Tails had to leave because they had a baby.
Mm.
They didn't have a baby. She didn't deliver there, but they had a child in it.
Right.
Where
Fair
were you
point.
born? In Paxies.
Fastcart, did you see the post where someone said they showed up and we were gone? I guess someone drove down from like New Hampshire, and then we already like closed shop. So I
Hey,
kind
we
of
were
felt bad
there
for the
for
guy.
3 hours. Yeah.
Oh, y'all
Yeah,
didn't
I saw
party
that.
till the sun come up? Oh,
No,
come on.
It was
people
loud,
were
man. It
winding
was very
down,
loud.
so I did make sure that
come on.
I was the last one. Well, me and Q were the last one to leave, but we didn't see anyone. So, all right. So up
Y'all
next we
aren't party
have.
people, really.
Up next we have this is from Q Snoggy from Daniel Dexter Taylor. Talking about we have started giving us patches for the ship that we worked on, and they're in love with them. So yeah, the Argo Raft 2151, 2120. I'm sorry, I'm getting all my numbers. 2021. So yeah, they're making patches again. Kitchen, you want to talk about this?
I just think it's really cool that they could actually, that they have this type of quality, patches. I mean, there are people would buy the heck out of any patch. If you buy a ship, it'd be kind of cool to be able to buy this stuff. Especially for like a top 3 that you like, or maybe even like, if you have an Origin jacket, or you have like Origin ships on it, you can show like, hey, these are like, my favorite brand, or maybe you're an Aegis person. So yeah, I think this is just really cool, and the design of it's just well done. I think it's really cool that they're doing that.
It is a cool design. It does look very intricate. So yeah. I was never one for patches. I'm more of a t-shirt kind of guy myself. If you put your brand on the shirt, I would get it. I forgot to
What's
talk
funny
about
the shirt thing is that I went and saw Florence the Machine one time, and I got her shirt, and then I wore it once. I'm like, this is just gonna get wrecked after wearing it a bunch of times. So I just had it framed, and I put my ticket in there. And so I kind of think I like shirts too, but it's just kind of like if you're a really cool one, you just want to like have it as a memento. I think this is kind of be able to iron that in a good jacket you have. It's kind of cool, or a bag, or whatever you want, or hang it up on the wall.
Okay. All right. Up after that, we have a few from our side account. Which event did the infamous helmet flip take place? Tuesday trivia. Anyone know the answer to this one? Hopefully, I'm not showing the answer.
Some
I am
citizens
showing the
on.
answer.
2014 PAX. Is it Gamescom or PAX? I'm gonna go with
It was PAX.
PAX.
I think.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I
go
think it
with
was PAX. Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
What year?
2014 PAX.
Oh my god.
2014, before you all were born.
Everybody screamed here.
That is true. That is before my SIG birthday.
Yeah,
It's
I
actually
mean,
the
it's before I
second
became a
helmet.
citizen.
Yeah, that's actually the second helmet flip, because the first helmet flip, the helmet was sitting on a pedestal when you came in, and you'd walk up to the pedestal, and this was before they put it into the Hornet.
Now, is
yeah,
that half a helmet? Is that like a
yeah, it was like
you're
a
wearing-
half piece that went on and clipped onto the back of you. The arm. If you ever go back and look at any of the old Hanger videos that people have made from 2013, 14, or 14 when the Hanger came out, you'll see that our entire suit was the flight suit was completely different. It had a lot of lights on it and stuff, and a lot of braces and all types of stuff. And eventually, they streamlined a lot of that stuff away. The helmet became something that came over the head instead of like went directly from over your face. So it's kind of cool
Is
to go
that
back and
why-
look at those videos if you guys have never seen them.
Is that why they call it infamous?
The flip was infamous because at
Yeah, flip was
CitizenCon, whenever we would start off the shows or Gamescom, this was always the thing that they opened. I mean, everybody was amazed with the helmet flip. That's really what it came down to. And people would cheer.
Okay.
Whenever the helmet flip would happen, everybody in the room would go crazy and cheer. And that's why it was infamous. So
Fastcart, remember not to be confused with the infamous El Guapo, because he's that famous.
All right.
Griff got that
All
joke.
right, so yeah, that was the Tuesday trivia. And then the last tweet they have from the RSI site is from, if you are brand new to the game right now, which of these starters would you pick and why? So they have the choice between Nomad and the Avenger. So which
Nomad.
one?
Nomad.
Yeah, Nomad.
Avenger. I'm only saying that because the Avengers stole my heart when I first came into this game, because I was a huge space shuttle fan, and I didn't care. I mean, it did some stuff. Don't get me wrong, the Nomad's a better ship, but the Nomad still steals my heart because it's just so reminiscent of the old space shuttles.
So you like the Avenger?
See a Spitfire, take that Spitfire.
The Avenger, yeah. Spitfire's gone. Oh, bye Spitfire.
I picked the Nomad just because it's like it could do so much. You could just go out and explore, and like they
Yeah.
showed in the commercials, like that you can go camping in it, and that's just
And it's
that's really
fairly well
cool.
armed as well.
Yeah, it's a cool ship. It is. If between the two, I think it is the better of the two ships.
I think it's ugly as hell, but it's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but between these two, I would probably pick the Avenger as a starter ship, but upgrade to the Nomad later on, maybe. That's me.
I think the Nomad costs less than the Avenger.
No,
Mm-mm,
Nomad
no.
is 90.
Nomad's
Is it
80, 90
$90?
bucks. Yeah, it went up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 80 or 90 bucks.
How
Yeah.
much is the Avenger Titan right now?
60.
That's 60.
Oh.
Yeah, 30. So like $20 or $30 different.
The ship they need to put on the screen is the Origin 100, but we won't talk about that.
Oh my God!
No.
From your lips, it might be one of the next ones. So yeah, so like I said, if I wanted to focus on cargo mining with some combat Nomad, if I wanted to focus on combat with some cargo mining Avenger.
Actually, no, the Nomad is probably a better combat ship when you look at DPS and with the proper loadout.
A proper loadout, but I think this is just stock loadout. Is what they're asking about.
Well, now you're adding content. Get that ship.
Okay.
All right. So up next we have. So Jake Acapella from CIG obviously is talking about inventory wipe in 317. So it said no long-term persistence wipe is planned for 317.0, which would include things like items, AUEC, and reputation. So no inventory wipe is planned. But I saw a screenshot of someone complaining like, well, wouldn't it be better if you do have a wipe? And they're like, it's always that one guy. This is why we can't have nice things.
They should have just been like GoMap and stocked up.
Yeah, a lot of the wipe before was because of the implementation that they were starting with the whole Quanta stuff, and because some people had a lot of exploits with getting money, and so they've kind of wiped all that stuff out. The anti-cheat kicked in, a whole bunch of other things. So for now, we're safe. Whatever you have in your hangar stays in your hangar, or your inventory, I should say.
Too big.
Yeah, for now.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Okay.
after that, oh yeah, and I think this is from Colorado. So this is also from Jake Acapella. Alpha 317 new DirectX minimum requirement. Specifically version 11.1. So they're no longer supporting 11.0 or 10.0 or whatever, or anything below 11.1. So while the impact of change is rather small, an impact less than 0.5% of players who have logged into PU in the last 6 months, we still wanted to take the opportunity to give you a friendly heads up. If you're still running Windows 7, that's what it is, which is unsupported, and using graphics cards that do not support 11.1, this will affect you. So, if anyone's still running an old operating system or an old graphics card. Yeah, I
Yep,
think
I'm
so.
on Windows 11 with a 3090, so I'm good.
Right. Like if you're running Windows, if you're playing this game
Windows 7.
on Windows 7 with a graphics card supported by Windows 7, you're not having a good time either way, right? Like you said, 0.05%.
No, 0.5.
So a half of a percent of people, right? So there are those people out there, but they're like, man, this is the prettiest slideshow I've ever seen.
Right? No, is it even a slideshow? Because I mean, a lot of the effects and everything aren't even supported by a graphics card that old. Because I went from a not a 2070. What did I go from?
970.
970.
A 970. Thank you. I went from a 970 to a 2070, and the difference was substantial. So
yeah,
I can't imagine a Windows 7 type of graphics card and what that would look like.
Now, would that hamper the people like who actually are playing the game? Does that affect us if someone's using a rig that old?
No.
That's on their side.
Yeah. So on client side, any issues that they have with that.
Yeah, you go from frames per second to seconds per frame with that kind of rig.
That's good. That's good,
What is
Gomez.
the second?
That's
What is
good.
the second for fame performance?
That's good.
You should make a shirt out of that there.
That's good. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like you talk about, gas guzzling cars. They go from miles per gallon to gallons per mile.
Mm-hmm.
Same difference.
So yeah. So this is just a friendly reminder. Upgrade to a newer Windows operating system and a newer video card if you can. So the 0.5 a year, 0.5% of a year. Good luck with that. Up next we have Galactapedia update. Griffin, you want to take this, or do you have the link up? Or I can
Sure.
go. These are pretty short.
Sure. As usual, they've been adding more to the Galactapedia. There is a feature article in this particular one on the Kavish. I would assume that's Kavish or Kavishe. Some of you have seen this before in the game. If you guys remember in the hangar, when they were giving out the subscriber flares, those of you may remember there was one in particular that looked kind of like a little mini cactus. That is the Kavish, and you've also seen them on certain planetary bodies. I want to say that Hurston actually has them. If I'm not mistaken, in their biome areas where there's growth. But take a look at it because they say it's a very succulent cactus, and it was from the description something that was terraformed, and they use it on terraformed worlds. But other than that, there are shorter articles on several things from the Ellis system, the planets there. There's a thing called Green, Center of Culture, Leisure, and Really Fast Spaceships. I haven't read that one yet. Compost, Noble, Ellis 5, well, the other Ellis planets all the way through Ellis 7. The Ellis Belt, site of some of the earliest Murray Cup races are mentioned. Walleye, a place to refuel and relax. Or is it Bambora, a place not to refuel and relax? I love that. There's the Ellis 9. I think that's the highest that it goes. No, Ellis 11, actually. I'm sorry. That's the highest that it goes, Ellis 11. Judica, which is delicate and icy. Pine Cone, which is resource central. Ado. Lodgings here are often booked several years in advance, which is a place that you might want to go visit. Neo Tori, a squat city that ought to be interesting to see. And then Beartown offers spectacular forest views. So as always, folks, take a look at Galactapedia. It's worth looking at. These are places that are going to be in the various systems in the game, and you might want to start making your travel arrangements if you're interested.
And if you've ever done racing in Arena Commander, that takes place on Green in the Ellis system.
Exactly.
So Ido, is that that's like a 890 place, right? I would imagine.
Well, it looks kind of fancy. It's the well, Jay just said it. When you do the racing where the white city, floating city is and stuff?
Yeah.
Sure.
That's a part of that. Am I correct? Am I correct, Jay?
You are correct.
Okay. Yeah.
It's one of the prettiest locations in lore.
Mm-hmm.
So then, do you think Concierge and the Mile High Club will have special access to that?
No,
to that resort and stuff like that.
You're trying to start a riot or something?
Well,
No,
since you have to book several years in advance. Well, it's 2022 now. Where do I put my name?
No, I don't think it's going to be concierge. I will say this: Ben years ago talked about people having certain access based upon their ships. So maybe if you have a certain type of ship, you can land there. Maybe your reputation too, because I'm sure reputation may have an impact as well. But there are going to be places that people can go to. Whether you can afford to be there may be another question. We'll see.
Expensive parking.
Yeah. Docking fees might kill you. All right, FC.
Yeah, and don't forget, if anyone wants to join us to discuss this stuff, please feel free to join us clicking on that Discord link. So come and join us. We don't bite unless, consent is given. Anyway.
You had to make it weird.
I bite.
Up next, we have the roadmap update, April 27, 2022. Griffin, want to take this too? Or you
got it.
Okay.
All right, everybody. Today's Wednesday as usual, and we're getting our updates here. Notable changes for April 27th on the progress tracker. With this published, we are adding additional Q2 2022 deliverables for downstream teams. This comes alongside a few important changes to some of these teams. The first one, the vehicle tech team. We've transitioned to work on Arena Commander, Star Marine, and Theaters of War from Firesprite to the internal vehicle tech team. This team is now named the Arena Commander feature team and will have additional deliverables added to their schedule as time goes on. The vehicle feature and vehicle experience. With this published, the vehicle experience team is merging with the vehicle feature team, including all of their deliverables. The reason for this is twofold. First, this allows for greater streamlining of production for these two teams. Second, the vehicle feature team is now having its feature direction driven by Squadron 42's requirements. Deliverables worked on by this newly merged team will now follow a similar cadence to the core gameplay pillar, in that features will be made for Squadron 42 first, before then being ported to the persistent universe. The UI feature team. Similar to the above, the UI feature team has been renamed to the Squadron 42 UI feature team. This team now falls under the core gameplay pillar and will also follow a similar cadence as outlined for the vehicle feature team. The following deliverables have been added to the progress tracker: AR and map marker system rework. Rework of AR and map marker systems to work with building blocks. This deliverable has been added to the Squadron 42 UI feature team schedule. Doors, airlocks, and light panels UI. Creating new user interfaces for door panels, airlocks, and light panels using building blocks. This deliverable has been added to the Squadron 42 UI feature team. Mobiglass rework. Reworking of the Mobiglass system to use building blocks, which is also allow for easier development of Mobiglass apps. This deliverable has been added to Squadron 42's UI feature team schedule. And last but not least, visor lens rework. Converting the visor and lens system to building blocks for improved performance and flexibility. This deliverable has also been added to the Squadron 42 UI feature team's schedule. That's it for this week.
That's a lot of stuff about building blocks.
Well, a lot of things that were moved over, focusing towards Squadron 42. They had told us that much of what would happen is that as things were developed, it wouldn't be that things stopped progressing with Star Citizen, the persistent universe, but that things would flow down to us as they normally have. But they're just reiterating it that it's going to work. Squadron 42 is the priority. They want to get that done, and all the good things that come out of that, and all the whipped cream comes down to the persistent universe over time. I do want to go back to this piece about Firesprite, because there's been some concern about that. And my understanding, if anybody has any more information beyond what I'm going to share, please do. One of the reasons why Arena Commander, Star Marine, and Theaters of War are being moved from Firesprite is because Firesprite got bought by Sony. That was the word that I got. That was the word I got. Now, I don't know what that means, whether they bought a percentage or bought the whole thing. So I don't know if anybody has anything, because I didn't have time to do any research to see what the deal was with that.
I'm a little confused by that, because I wouldn't think that if you bought a company out, you would just cancel all the contracts. So, I mean, they could do that. I mean, I imagine there would be some type of benefit to, they would pay for damages, like not like damages, but they would get like some type of benefit because of that. But I mean, I'm hoping it's just that they finished what they were working on, and then like, here you go, SIG, it's your turn. But if they started pushing everything back at SIG, then maybe that's what happened.
There's also something interesting too. If you guys remember, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, Chris had a percentage in Firesprite, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Here, it's the only thing I see something from February 21 on their page is Firesprite did a limited completes acquisition of Fabric Games Limited. September 20 of 2021, it says Sony Interactive Entertainment to acquire Firesprite Games. That was back in September. So, this isn't the first time that CIG has kind of decided to take some things and put it under its own umbrella that was being outsourced to someplace else. So my thing is kind of like, okay, I get that if they're doing that because they're trying to keep everything tight moving towards Squadron, but I'm also kind of curious because I thought that Chris had ownership in Firesprite. So
maybe not enough.
Or maybe it was worth selling it because of what Sony gave him. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah.
So, do we know? I remember that, but do we know if it's the same Chris Roberts? Because I know Firesprite. I was looking at.
It was the same name. Yeah, the name was the same name, but a different person, right?
Yeah, because it's a Chris Roberts who's the technical director of Firesprite.
Okay, then that's something we need to look up.
Yeah, because
Good
I
point.
remember Yeah, I remember when hearing that same information. I think there was someone else who was wondering, was that the same Chris? And it was a huge discussion, and I don't think anybody was able to
Ever
get to the conclusion.
determine?
Yeah.
Yeah. Admiral, I just put that link into the channel for you to put in the thing, and there's there for you, fastcart, as well, if you want to. But anyway,
I get
that was back in September when that acquisition took place. So, and you guys know that that's what FireSprite was working on for CIG. So.
Okay. I mean, this is, like I said, this isn't the first time something like this happened, because we remember the infamous
Ilphonic.
Ilphonic, thank you.
Yeah.
And then and even before that, you had in 2013, you had a whole bunch of people doing stuff, because I remember that 2013 CitizenCon. He named like 5 different companies.
Six different companies came up on stage. Yeah, that were outsourcing. Yep.
Yeah, this is like a while ago, you know. And I know people have started talking about this again, but I mean, this is last fall.
Mm-hmm.
You know, almost 6 months ago. Is that over 6 months ago?
Mm-hmm.
So I would hope that they were still working on it, and they just were handing the torch over to
just transitioning
SIG to say, okay, this part is done, on you now, or something like that. So
that's what it sounds like happened. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, because we know that some persons from FireSprite got hired by CIG eventually too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay.
All right. So up next we have the MISC Expanse Q&A. There's a whole lot of stuff in here, but to hit on some highlights, to talk about what are the benefits of each of the refining ship compared to a station-based refinery. It's portable, basically. How long it takes to refining compared to station-based, it'll be quicker. Will the Expanse have safe storage for volatile ore? Basically, it'll still be volatile, but once you start refining, it will not be volatile. So if you can start the refining as soon as possible, it won't be volatile anymore. Will there be a mini game for refining? And he said that they don't call it a mini game since the mechanic is more complex than that. But, they call it a mechanic, but people still call it a mini game. But basically, they go into details about the mechanic, basically. And we'll be able to begin the refining process, then store the Expanse via the ASAP terminal without interrupting the process, and to say no, basically. What materials can Expanse refine? The current aim is to have raw, unrefined materials as refinable, so all minerals, gases, and metals, including scrap. Is it compatible with the Argon Mold, Grey Cat, Rock, and the Great Vulture? The Expanse plans to refine the vast majority of output from the vehicle above. So yeah. Will refining require consumables, fuel, catalyst reagents, etc. Refining will likely require some kind of power, catalyst, and other reagents. Will refining require power from the ship to operate? Yes, it will require power from the ship to operate. Why does the Expanse have a single small shield? Due to the energy-intensive nature of the refining process, the compromise will only have a single small shield to allow the ship to have full shielding while the refining process is undertaken. Can you explain the broad terms of the stack system is? Basically, it's how to store the ore and refinable. When Expanse receives raw ore via container, does it reuse the same container when delivering refined materials? And the quick answer is yes. What is the total cargo capacity for refined and needing to refine materials? Can it process 64 SCUs of ore, but also have additional SCUs in saddlebags already refined? So, like the prospecting mode, the Expanse utilizes the same folding stack design that allows the second set of pods to be stored on board in a compressed state. So, by default, the 8 pods expanded, giving 64, and 8 pods compressed, giving an additional 64. So, you have both. Is the Expanse able to hold raw ore in waiting? And we plan to allow you to store some amount of material directly in the reactor or an attached stack. is the system being planned to allow players to charge for ore processing. And yes, we plan to have a selling purchase system where players will be able to sell unrefined material to the Expanse. The brochure illustrates shows the pod loading and zero G via tractor man. Well, let's also look at a planet where gravity is a factor. Current plan is yes. So that was quite in depth for a Q&A. It took a while for it to come out, though. But I think, do you think that this Q&A will change people's minds about getting one or not getting one in Expanse?
I'll let someone go first.
Go ahead.
I'll let somebody else go first.
Okay, Jade.
No, not really.
What? No. Okay, give
I
me
don't.
rational.
And here's the reason why. I think refining is going to be kind of a niche career, and people that really wanted this ship probably would have like already decided on acquiring it either in the game or with a sale. So I mean, they did give a lot of detail, but I don't see a lot of people saying, "Wow, because of that, I want this ship now."
Yeah. Either you wanted it before or you didn't. Nobody's
Yep.
gonna, I think what they said fell in line with what a lot of people hoped it would be. If you hoped it would be something different, I don't know. Like like what would you expect from mobile refinery ship? It makes sense how they're doing it. So yeah.
I think the only reason that people would all of a sudden turn and want this ship is if it could carry a rock.
Good point.
That's the
welcome,
only
Dark
reason.
Knight.
Hey, what's going on, y'all?
Maybe I should ask this question. So, who currently does not have an Expanse besides me? Does not have an Expanse.
Me?
I don't have one.
I don't have one.
Aye.
So about half of us. Well, half and half. Okay.
I mean, okay, so I guess I'll go. So, I'll just go with the stuff that we didn't know about, and then, like, the fact of the matter is that it's able to refine stuff that you can salvage. That was an unknown. People didn't think it was supposed to be able to do that. And then also the question is, well, what happens with the Vulture now? Does the Vulture spit this stuff out into bags somehow, so I can then bring to the refining ship? Because it has to be sucked up in these bags. So that like opens up a whole new career, aspect of salvaging, and then it uses this ship too. And then, I mean, the Quantanium is a big question. It says in the Q&A that you have to refine it, or else it's still going to explode. So you just can't store it in the bags, as unrefined ore. So that's also a big plus. But there's some speculation if this is just like one part of that, and you have to like drop it off at a Starfarer to finalize the fuel. But I think it's just very interesting, an interesting ship, and yeah, I think I'd like to see a bigger version of this now to see, what is this is for like the Prospector. So what does the one for the Argo Mole look like?
No, this is for the mole. This
It's
is
for
the
the mole
mole and the
too.
prospector. It's for both.
Mole
I
Prospector
want a
and
bigger
Vulture.
one.
And
What do
Vulture.
The
Yeah,
Vulture.
I don't think you're gonna get. You might get a bigger one. Maybe. I mean, this is a starter, but I don't know if it would be. The problem is that they've defined this as being for the mole and the prospector, and then after that, you've got the Orion.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing is that I think they want to still have that dynamic of a operation, which means that you've got 3 or 4 moles out there, 2 or 3 prospectors, 5 or 6 refineries running, versus one bigger refinery doing it all.
Again, I would, if you remember a few Digital Bar Citizens back, they asked us, what would you want in the game? And I just when Jared was there, it was my biggest question was I just want variety in the game of like, you've got, BMW, Audi, Mercedes-Benz have competing cars. So I just would like to see a competition ship
mid-size one
from other than MISC. So maybe it's an Argo, starting refining ship or something like that. So yeah, I just like to see that like these branches, start to expand.
That'd be cool. That would be cool.
I feel like
Yeah.
the attractiveness of this ship will definitely depend on how common or rare or how easy it is to access station-based refineries
Mhm.
and how valuable the material that it crafts from what it absorbs will be for other gameplay loops, because we know that it crafts the catalysts and those things for reusability and other things. So right now, we may not see a large spike, even though we expect it to be a niche thing. But who knows, maybe when it becomes integrated into the game and the byproducts that it produces, as well as the how far or close it may be from station-based refineries, I think we may see a definite increase or in popularity or preserved rarity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always thought the ship, first of all, I thought it was smaller than it
Mm.
was going to be, but it makes sense. It fits. The only thing about the ship that doesn't make sense to me is the name, but maybe the name
You're not the only
expanding.
one who feels that way about the
No, the
name.
name sucks.
I
That
don't
name is actually the
know,
worst.
expanding something, expanding meeting people that are out mining. I never got that part, but to kind of leech off of DK, I always said the ship was going to be, the first one was going to be bigger and have an ability to, like he said, hold maybe a couple of rocks in there, go out, process those things, other ships kind of meet and come. Like you say, Griff, maybe they won't, but I was thinking of maybe a little something, because this seems more local. I was thinking of something maybe a little bit more long range possibility to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was always my thought. But me having a use for it, we have an Orion. So,
I mean,
Yeah.
but
to go back to
yeah.
Admiral's point, I mean, there could be that again. They said that they call this a starter, in a career starter, right?
Right.
And we know that the price tag, even though it's a little bit higher than a price tag in the sense of what we call starter ships, it's a starter for a career. It's matched to the prospector in particular.
Mhm.
The prospector has 4 bags. This has 8, which matches up with the mole. My thing about this ship that it was interesting was that they talked about it refining gas, which I didn't expect.
Yeah, I didn't expect that.
I didn't expect gas. The other flip of the coin that people were asking was, will it do Quantanium also, or will they leave Quantanium exclusive to the Starfarer? And we found out that now this is a all-purpose ores, minerals, gases, the whole 9-yard ship. I'm curious about the process of, you guys already know, for those of you who mine, when you do Quantanium, you got about 15 minutes with that stuff when it's volatile. And unless that time changes, as soon as you get through mining that stuff, you've got to be transferring it to this ship. You don't have a lot of time with that. So that'll be something that'll be interesting, whether or not people will even be bothered with Quantanium. Nihilus and I were having a conversation too, that based upon resources, Quantanium is popular now because CIG hasn't created greater value to all the other minerals that are available to us in the game. But when the economy kicks in, you may find out that when you're in a system, diamond is more valuable than Quantanium. So the assumption is the flexibility of the ship to be able to mine whatever it is, and the fact that they said that, yeah, there will be an automatic mode for being able to refine, but they said, but if you do it yourself manually, that you may be able to squeeze out even better material. Now that competes with refineries, right, that are at a station, but refineries can do bulk quantity. This ship cannot do that. That's the trade-off. You can take thousands or whatever to a refinery, leave them there for a day, and go do something else. This ship, you got to process it right then, get it out right then, move it right then. And that changes the dynamic, or it's going to make you think about the logistics of using the ship, when to use it. And as you said, Kalrati, what happens when you're a system where there are no stations, where there are no refineries, right? That introduces a whole nother dynamic to it as well.
Yeah, you stole some of the answers I was going to give. Like, I think this Q&A definitely increases the value of the experience. Like, I think this Q&A will change some minds. Like, if people were 50-50 on getting one, it probably tip people over the edge into getting one. That's my opinion, because it the stuff that you described, the way it can refine anything and everything. It can refine volatile stuff and make them more stable as soon as the process starts. So I think we'll definitely see more sales of the Expanse because of this Q&A. That's my
Yeah.
idea.
Also,
I have a,
I was going to say the only thing that as far as we know right now that it doesn't refine is like rock, like gemstones. So it'll be interesting to see how those are, turn into something else and some type of crafting mechanic. But yeah, this does a lot, and to a lot of people's surprise.
What are you
Yeah.
gonna say, Pop?
yeah, this only refines one thing at a time, correct?
No.
No?
You can
I
have
thought it
multiple
was only
batches. You can have multiple
multiple
batches
batches.
going to different. There's 6 reactors on it, and you can have whatever reactor mine whatever it is you want it to mine.
You can't mix the bags though, and
Right,
if you use
right.
and if you use like the bag that it was unloaded the original ore, it has to be cleaned out before you put the refined stuff into it.
you also potentially eliminate the need to go to a certain location where pirates may be. If you're going to a particular trade route, or if you're, say you mine and you have to go to the station-based refinery and pirates are frequent around that area, having a mobile refinery kind of eliminates the need to take that risk.
And that brings up the whole base building mechanic with that with the ship behind fastcart. Like you just need one of these there, practically just sitting on the ground, and you pull up a bag to it and it refines what you need, and then you hand the bag over to the refining the construction ship. Pioneer.
Yeah.
But you can see where game loops are being built with this now.
Right.
Where
Yeah.
it's closing game loops now. The possibilities, whether it's in space or on a planet surface or building a homestead, there's a lot of possibilities, with the ship.
All right. So up next we have the Inside Star Citizen is back. So we're gonna hop in.
Real quick. Actually, I think it closes the game loop on 2 professions. Because not just mining. They talked about salvage as well. Right. So apparently one thing we didn't know about salvage, we didn't realize about salvage, is that you're going to get that stuff, but you got to refine whatever it is you strip off those holes in order to make it, turn it back into useful materials. So this is not important, not just for mining, but it also for salvage as well. So I think it's going to be a very popular ship.
That's why that's something I was wondering before, was that I wonder if inside the Vulture there is a bag that you can shred stuff into that you can bring up to this thing, because I don't think they're going to mix bags. I think it's just like you got these collapsible bags and that's how it sucks it up. So I don't know how they're going to do that. We'll see. The Vulture's coming out in next patch 3.18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and along with cargo refactor, right? That's going to be the big thing, the cargo refactor, physicalizing all this stuff and making it real.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna hit ISC then.
ISC.
Hey y'all, greetings from sunny United Kingdom. It's a time of change at the moment as I relocate from Los Angeles and our Winslow and Frankfurt offices prepare their move into the new digs over the next coming months. That means that this quarter of ISC may be a little different, a little more run and gun than usual, recording from wherever we can week to week, whether that's our old Winslow office you're already familiar with, sticking our heads into the currently under construction new offices here in Manchester, or even my new flat that's currently filled with half-constructed IKEA furniture. Yes, it's an exciting time for ISC and for Cloud Imperium Games as a whole as we continue to grow. So please, pardon our dust this quarter as we continue our look inside of Star Citizen's continuing development. And we're going to start things off this new quarter and this new year of the show with a brief look at a presentation given recently by our own Forrest Stephan to directors, detailing an evolution of our wear and biome systems we want to put forward into development later this year.
Greetings all, Forrest here. Some of you may know this. I love playing Star Citizen. I play it on Fridays. And I was running around Microtech when I realized there was a bit of a problem. There were some major inconsistencies between the characters, the weapons, and the environment in regards to the biome accumulation. So I tried to come up with a solution, and then I put together a presentation. Because before we decide to work on a feature of any kind, it is important to make certain we're all on the same page. So today, I'm going to share with you some of those ideas from the presentation I recently gave to CR and other directors before any of the work had started. Now, disclaimer, Jared said you'd find it interesting. So if it's not, blame him. So for those of you who don't know, biome is weather, and accumulation is the effect that that weather has on the materials. So if a character walks into a biome, that character's shader will reflect the weather. Simply put, if you walk out in the rain, you're gonna get wet. Right now, when you play the game, there's only a single texture handling all accumulation effects per asset. So my pitch to Chris was, let's make it procedural. How we did this was we used Substance Designer to automate any textures needed for any biome required. This alleviated all labor off the artists. So look, when you have a bunch of people creating the same thing, you're going to have different results. Because we all see things differently, doing this procedurally solves the visual inconsistencies of biome accumulation. And of course, with graphic support, it's going to be even better. All in all, the reason this is so important to me is it gives us that immersive planet-side experience while playing the game on my Friday nights.
Wear and biome accumulation are essential elements in creating a universe that feels simultaneously alive and lived in, with its expected and anticipated effects on players, buildings, and vehicles alike. And up next, the teams have been busy while we were away, so let's check in with the AI and EU sandbox.
Up next, we're going to talk about the first half of ISC. So let's go in order. I'm Kusanagi. What are your thoughts about wear and tear?
I think it looks fantastic, and it's going to save them a lot of time.
All
so
right.
That's it. I talk too much.
Dark Knight.
I haven't seen this one yet, so that was actually really cool. I like how he just kind of broke it down and really kind of explained it. This was different than the other ISCs I've seen before. Like they really took the time to. This is the kind of development talk that I like where it's just like, this is what we're doing, and this is how we're going to do it. And I had to go pitch this idea to CR, and these are the concepts that we came up with. And I like that kind of stuff. That's good. An inside look at how they're creating wear and tear on a suit. Like
that's because this is inside Star Citizen.
It's inside Star Citizen. So if you're walking around and you ever wanted to know, well, how do they do that? He just told you. So
right.
There you go. Now you know what it took to get dirt to accumulate on your suit, or mud if you're down by the river. I mean, this is exactly what it's there for. I love it.
Face to face, what are your thoughts?
I like it. Excuse me. Hopefully they will fix the frost animation that comes on your suit, that if you're like over there by the river, because technically you shouldn't be getting that. Because if it's not on the trees and if it's not on the plants, then it shouldn't be on you.
Yeah, no, that's a biome issue. That's not
Right.
the suit issue. They just get
But-
the biome right.
But that's what I'm saying. Like if it's not there,
Mm-hmm. That's why he was saying on this new thing that they've got here, the biome itself will be what determines what goes on the suit, and that's what this new tech is. Because he said when he got out there, he saw stuff was wrong.
Yeah, and that's what I hope that would address that issue.
What the fix is, yeah.
All right, go Matt, what is hard?
All right, two things, and I'm going to cover the whole spectrum here. But what was he supposed to be working on before he, found out this thing that he could fix real quick? I mean, real question, right? Like, I know he's the director of art stuff, and he found this thing while he was playing, and it was like, oh man, this is something I can go fix. Let me build this whole system, go fix it. So I'm curious, like, did this pull him away from some other task that he had to delay or not work on in order to get this done, because now it's a priority for him because he saw it and wanted to fix it? Don't get me wrong, I believe it's a fantastic thing to deliver in the game for as far as polish is concerned. It doesn't necessarily add much in the way of enhancing or stabilizing gameplay. It's a cosmetic polish thing, right? Which is definitely one of the things we always talk about in this game, is how beautiful it is and how great things look, from the characters to the ships to the biomes and so on and so forth. So I'm kind of torn on it. I think making it be procedural is actually a really good thing. The more things they make procedural, the less load that it's going to that the developers are going to have to deal with when they're adding future things down the road. So it is a net positive. I'm just, we've experienced a whole lot less what I would call feature creep in the last couple years, right? I think a lot of the stuff they've been working on has been called out in the roadmap, and we know that they're going to be working on it. And sometimes we like, hey, why aren't you working on it faster? So this is one of the first things that I've seen in a really long time that somebody said, hey, I saw this, I want to make it better, so let me go down this rabbit hole. So
I mean, CIG is really darn if they do, darn if they don't, because they got people complaining that they don't play the game, that they don't play their own game, and now that we find someone who does, people are worried that saying they're pulling them away from other assets that we're working on.
He's an artist.
If you heard what I said as a complaint, then I advise you to, after the show is over, go rewatch this piece and re-listen to what I just said.
Well,
and maybe you'll come with
my question to you, Nomad, is what do you think, or what would you wish that for Stefan to be working on?
I don't know. So that's why I pose it as a question, right?
Can I give a comment here? I understand what you're saying, Gomab. I think that the question is did what he do bring benefit to the game development? Not whether or not he stopped doing something. Because if what he stopped doing brought greater benefit to the game, then it was worth it. Now, if what he did was so minuscule that it doesn't make a difference either way, then your point is well taken. He said that this now removes work and workload from the artists by going procedural. And it was an observation he made as both a game player and an employee, and evidently observed something that even the people who worked in that section didn't catch. So I think what they're trying to highlight is, one, the point that fastcart mentions, the fact to show that, hey, CIG people do play the game. Two, if they see something, they speak up just like we do. And three, he had the ability to make a significant change in the development process that will free up either time or resources in the game development process. And you and I both know it doesn't mean that he has to be working every day on his project, because some projects are, prioritized. There are times when things are gapped. We don't know how far his depth went into making sure that this happened, other than his observation that it was something that needed to be done. And they said that this was passed on to the other teams, which is why he made the video to, let people know what had happened. So I don't think that it would have been something that would have, and mind you, he's a lead. So he's not like, he's over the departments. To me, I think it brings benefit, and it's going to make the development process better and more streamlined in the future, so there's a payoff.
Yeah,
But
I
if
think
it
it's a
doesn't,
net benefit. It is a net benefit. Like I say, it's just it was just a question when I was watching it. You know, this feature that he went off on a tangent on ended up being something that was a net benefit, right? And this and it just stood out because we haven't seen this in a long time. That they just they see something like, oh, I'm going to develop a system on this, right? Because we used to see that all the time, where Chris Roberts to see it.
Probably goes on way more often than we think.
Well, they don't tell us about that as as much anymore. It used to be all the time. CR would say, "Hey, I was in there and I said, wouldn't it be cool if we did this?" So now we're working on that. You know, and that was a big complaint for a lot of people.
Yeah, but guess what? People didn't complain. People didn't complain when one of the developers went home on his own time on the weekends and made it so that we could land anywhere on the planets. When they told us it was going to take us 2 to 3 years. See, that's the irony of it. You know what I mean? You know, when something good happens like that, it's like, oh, that guy did that on his own time. But then when there's something else, and like fastcart said, it's kind of like a tightrope. Either way, you know. And I get the point you're saying, point of observation. Believe me, I do. I genuinely do. But again, like Jade said, this was just an example of them. I think the point of this had way more to do with the fact of them showing how things can be found and fixed in the game and made better in the game, even by employees, not just Q&A people, but somebody who's just playing the game.
Yeah.
You know, that's all I think it is, but we'll see.
No, I'm happy he did it. I think it's going to be a great net benefit to the game development. Moving more things into procedural is the path that they need to take, and I appreciate him for doing it. I don't know. That was just a question that popped in my head when I was watching it. That wasn't necessarily a complaint.
We know it was your Sith. It was your Sith moment. We get it. We get it.
Rob.
It was your Sith moment. We get it.
Okay. And I just want to say, I object. Define should have made a post on Spectrum or submitted a port to the issue console. So, Jay, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I just like to reiterate what GoMap said. To me, the more that they can move some of the art stuff to procedural systems, the better, right? Because it does free up artists to be artists and not, placing, 5 different layers or something. And make a procedural system. The last time I saw something like this was when we got the whole thing about how they were doing caves based on the same thing that they used for, was it space stations, right? And so I don't look at this as feature creep. I look at this as they've developed tech that they are now using to enhance the game in other ways. That's part of Chris Roberts' vision. He wanted caves originally. There in the lore, there's underwater caves on Yella, right? So like that's all there, right? So just like with this biome accumulation, I mean, the fact that we even have planets with multiple biomes where they would want to do this is, it's amazing, and I'm glad that this is becoming procedural. I like to, see more of that, because ultimately everybody wants to play this game when it's released. And, we always hear people complain, when is it going to be released? What are they doing? Why aren't they moving faster? Well, procedural systems that allow artists to do art and not have to do, a lot of manual stuff, that helps speed up development. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, tremendously. They're going to have to put stuff in procedurally. They're going to have to do stuff procedurally if they're going to grow this game to the scale that they're looking to grow it to.
I have a thought. How about procedural hair? You think that could be a thing that'll work?
Let's just get the hair texture is like good first. Then we'll worry about the
Get some good
procedural
hair
part.
first, right? Get some good hair. Okay.
Kalani, what are your thoughts?
Everyone pretty much hit the nail on the head there with regards to offloading the work that the artist would normally do to make this possible. And the importance of the procedural generation. The other thing that I wanted to say was, it was good to see Forrest Stefan. We haven't seen him in like two or so years. So I was kind of wondering.
Yeah, it's been a while.
He was really prominent. He was really prominent in ATV and those things. So it was nice to see that he's still there. He's still doing his thing.
We haven't seen Brian Chambers in ages either. So.
Yeah.
All right, Pops and Space. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. When we were doing the filming, and we went in the water,
and came out the water and frozen. We were frozen for quite a while. With that was the very first thing we thought of. What's going on? Why isn't it wet? Why am I froze? Makes sense. The procedural end makes absolute sense. Yeah. One other thing is I'd like to hang out with him at his house, and yeah, most definitely mess with
his gear.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe answer GoMab's question. What does he do? Maybe he, does something in sound. But yeah, that synthesizer is right on point.
Well, if you do visit his house, make sure you don't eat him out of house and home, okay?
Oh, definitely got to eat him out of house and home because he don't never want to invite me back again.
I just figured out where Jared's at.
What?
Go ahead. He just said he figured out where Jared is.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
I'm not gonna
Steve.
say it though.
Okay.
I like to investigate.
One of the things I noticed was that they were using the new Babbage music, so I was disappointed that it wasn't a remix though.
Wait. Let me clarify. Hold on a second. It's not a remix. It's influenced by.
Influenced by. Okay, sorry, my mistake. I was disappointed that it wasn't the other song that I come to like.
Okay.
Griffin, what are your thoughts? Have you you already touched on everything?
Already touched it. Yep. We can go on.
All right, so let's go to the second half. As soon as I can find it. Oh, here we go.
Alike. And up next, the teams have been busy while we were away, so let's check in with the AI and EU sandbox teams in this week's Sprint Report. To get things started this week, let's jump into the world of AI with some sprint updates from a variety of tasks the team is tackling for both Star Citizen and Squadron 42. Up first is the Collision Resolver. Now, currently in the claustrophobic corridors of a ship or station, NPCs will often have no collision so that they can get to where they're going relatively unimpeded. But nobody wants characters just walking through other characters. So the Collision Resolver is a new system currently in development that will temporarily shrink the physics bubble of AI and change to the relevant animations, allowing them to pass through many situations they currently cannot. In addition, missions that require AI to come down from orbit and either deliver or pick up the player or goods often follow the terrain just a little too precisely, bouncing needlessly up and down over obstacles far, far below it, making it look, well, just janky as heck. So the AI flight path system is getting new features that allow for both local and look-ahead searches to determine not just safe altitudes that they can reach their destinations with, but also fly a more smooth and natural motion than ever before. This system can also potentially be used to allow NPCs to determine their own landing spots, using many of the same size and shape and availability judgments the players themselves have to use. And that's pretty cool. The team is also working to improve downstate reactions, as you can see here, where a group of actors discovers a fallen body. In this case, they might just rush over, investigate, and then fan out a scene here. Or perhaps they'll slowly approach with one person investigating while another stays behind to provide cover. And for anyone that's ever done the underground facility mission, improved response times for when their investigation of a fallen comrade is interrupted by an uncautious player. The AI content folks have also recently completed a sprint on a variety of usables such as these vending machines, where AI will ponder their selections, use their Mobiglass to complete the purchase, and even get frustrated when it doesn't work out. And then you can see here the entire carbonated refreshment flow behavior, where we get our drink, return to our table, consume our drink, and then dispose of it in the receptacle where it can be properly despawned to preserve server performance. Yay! And before we move on, let's go back to that failed reaction from before and see if we can really get inside the head of our AI in this exact moment. All right, let's see. Think I'll go for a peach flavor today. Make my payment. Oi, what gives? Hello, Mr. Machine Man. Oi, bruv, give me my peaches and prawn delight. That ain't right. Hey, wakey wakey. I ain't got time for this. Well, maybe just a few minutes more. Hello. Oi, this thing is really fastened in there, isn't it? Doesn't move an inch. You know, back in my day, we used to move these things all over the standing system. You're lucky you're not physicalized, bruv. Alright, moving along. Let's check in with the EU Sandbox team and their continuing work fleshing out the derelict outposts to be found on the surface of Pyro's planets and moons. What you're seeing here is a white box traversal test, the kind of work often done by level designers to flesh out aspects of the intended gameplay experience before artists come in and finish it out visually. And as you can see here, these derelict outposts are intended to be canvases to a variety of mission types and emergent opportunities, storytelling possibilities, and given that it's Pyro, maybe even some unavoidable PvP firefight eventualities. And in addition to working on the colonialism outposts, the EU Sandbox 01 team are also exploring new gameplay opportunities out in the farthest reaches of the upcoming Pyro system. What you're seeing here is some early pre-production work on larger scale points of interest to be explored throughout the system, utilizing debris from capital ships, or in this case, defunct, damaged, or destroyed space stations from days gone past. The upcoming Pyro system is intended to be rich with a history more violent and conflicted than the Stanton system you're already familiar with, and without the efforts of megacorporations like ArcCorp, Hurston, Microtech, and Crusader keeping things relatively nice and tidy. That means a variety of husks, relics, and otherwise aging locations to discover from the nearly 500 years of space travel and exploration that have occurred in this lawless frontier. This also includes variations with pre-existing pathing solutions intended to guide players safely to their destination through a damaging or otherwise dangerous array of obstacles, not unlike the famous coil from Squadron 42. Yeah, they may be lawless out here, but nobody wants to die unnecessarily speeding through an array of microasteroids or by losing hull integrity to corrosive agents and the like when making their way from one outpost to another. They're outlaws, but nobody likes a bad road trip. And beyond just being a cool place to explore visually, it's important these points of interest provide gameplay opportunities to players within. As the mission system spawns its myriad of mission types to explore, collect, attack, rescue, salvage, repair, and more, we also want to create environments that provide compelling reasons to leave your larger ships at the outskirts, safe from the dangers within, where a smaller craft would be perhaps a more tactically sound solution. And if you're asking yourself, what the heck is this place? We're going to talk more about what you're seeing here later in the year. So what did we learn this week? Well, we got a glimpse at the earliest stages of feature iteration with a look at the exact same kinds of presentations given internally to directors to scope out work for the months ahead. That the AI team continues to push the everyday behaviors of NPCs in naturalistic ways in their continuing efforts to create an immersive experience for all players. And that traveling through space looks to get just a little more involved and potentially a lot more dangerous as we continue along with our path to Pyro. That does it for us this week. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. We'll see you all next week.
Alrighty then. Let's start in the middle. And Nomad, what are your thoughts?
I think that is, seeing those ships being able to path down to the ground, I think that's going to be huge as far as for the NPCs and it not being all herky jerky. The sky's the limit. As to like the implications of that technology. One of the things that I've said before that I'm really looking forward to seeing in this game is that when you come out of quantum at Everest or PO or Tressler or any of these stations, or even around Lorville, or any place where there's like supposed to be a lot of people around, that you see a lot of NPC traffic that's not like the security forces, right? You see cargo ships, you see transports, you see just a random Cuddy Blacks and just whatever flying around from NPCs, just creating this kind of a buzz. So the fact that now they'll be able to come all the way down to the planet, right? That'll be great. And they he did mention that part of it was transporting players, NPCs transporting players. So I think I don't know if we've really explored that much, right? Is there going, will there be a time where I can put out, I get stranded, my ship goes boom, but I was able to get out or get away from it, and I can call in an NPC to come pick me up, or hey, I need to go to this HDMS Edmonds down on Hurston. Would I be able to jump on an NPC transport like an Uber and say, hey, take me to this place, and just pay some money and take it? That's going to be an amazing thing to open up the game. You'll with something like that, you can start having people that are playing the game that don't own a spaceship.
Okay, but you kept out on the most important part. What do you think of Jared's performance of the NPC at the vending machine?
I think he's been going to the fastcart school of comedy.
Thank you. Jade, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, as I said in chat, I believe we've seen these splines before, but this looked like really smooth compared to the last time we saw them. And I'm excited for them because when you take this and you pair it with the on foot 3D pathfinding of the AI, you can imagine those Valkyries dropping troops off. I'm also excited for it because of what GoMap hinted at. There are commercial flights. There are terminals in the spaceport for commercial flights, and I guess that's going to be for a future feature where you can get on an NPC ship and go from point A to point B. So this is just a step in that direction, and I am very happy to see it. As for Jared's performance, stick to one UK accent. That's all I'd say. I'm not an expert on them, but I can tell a few of them apart, and those were all of them together. So yeah.
Jade, can you say feature 5 times fast? No, I'm messing with you.
Feature?
What are your thoughts?
So I can definitely echo Gomab's and Jade's point with regards to using the AI for assistance, because when we get full persistence and if an issue or your ship blows up, you can't exit the game, and when you re-enter, hope to respawn back at the station. So it's either going to be you backspace, or you ask a player to come and pick you up, or hopefully you ask an NPC to come down to the planet and assist you. So seeing this progress is really, really exciting. The other thing that I was really happy to see was the collision resolver, because I remember when I play Arc, and I have I either have the AI dinos tamed, or I can see the animals running around, and if they get stuck by or next to a rock or so, because of how dense and how scattered and dense and scattered the rocks and the trees were, you literally had to wait until they either turn in a particular direction to kind of get unstuck. So it was nice to see that collision resolve, because I think it's going to help a lot when it comes to any kind of AI moving around. That's it.
Okay. Pop in space, what are your thoughts?
Oh, it was a lot here. The derelict stations, them working on that, like Kirati just said, when you have an animal or you have something following, how they get stuck. Definitely understand that. Absolutely. Let's see, the mystery of where that was and where that location was at in Pyro has me intrigued to find out. The collision, that whole collision thing being worked out, because NPCs are going to be a major part of this game, more than any other game I've been involved with. The spleen system, I kind of wanted to leave that to DK, since DK is our flight person.
Okay. Emma Kusanagi, what are your thoughts? Oh, were you finished?
Yeah.
Pop, were you finished?
Yeah, I'm finished.
Okay. Kusanagi, what are your thoughts?
I just like the spline stuff. Looks really cool. Like having NPCs, come down in different directions, different locations, and be able to come into a location and land. I know they talked about reinforcements for like the bunker missions and stuff like that. So this is probably how they're going to do that. So it'll be, it looks really good. And the rest of it, the pyro system looks really good. Certainly a lot of areas for salvage ships to make some money in there if they feel like it.
Dark Knight, what are your thoughts?
All right, I'll go. So the idea of the AI coming to rescue, that's not new. It is Star Citizen's way of doing it. Elite Dangerous has taxis that they put into Odyssey. You can call a taxi from the ground, or you can take a taxi to a different location. In fact, you can get a taxi to take you across multiple star systems. So that's nothing new, and it will drop you off, and you can call it whenever you're dropped off. You don't have to have a ship. In fact, that was the one thing that they talked about when they put it in, is you can play the game without even having a ship now. So that's new. But what we're seeing with this one is, think about what's going to happen with this medical response. We're talking about you getting hurt, and if there's no players around, you can call an NPC to come down and pick you up and take you to a hospital. So there's that part is now answered, as far as, well, what happens if there's nobody out there to come heal me? Call an NPC. NPC will come pick you up, put you in the back of a Cuddy Red, and take you over to, Port Tresler and into the medical unit over there, or down to a ground station. Jade, you mentioned commercial flights. It's exactly it. Commercial flights. This is where all of that comes into play. So, like you said, GoMap, you don't have to have a ship. You could just hop on a commercial flight flown by an NPC that will take you from Port Tresler all the way over to Port Alizar or something. I'm just using those as examples. And again, you don't have to have a ship in order to do that. This is big for passenger missions, and for the like. Whether it is me flying a NPC or an NPC flying me around, or perhaps even an NPC flying your ship as opposed to you flying your ship itself. Would this turn into perhaps having an NPC fly your wing? Maybe. I mean, that does happen in other games where you can have I'll bring up Elite Dangerous again. You can have an NPC fly your fighter as you're flying the main ship, and they will defend or they will go on the offensive, one or the other. That is what we're going to be seeing with this type of mechanic. So that extra NPC that might have, I think everybody gets one extra NPC or one NPC that they can have on as their crew. That's, put them in that arc, the Merlin. As you're flying the Connie, they're flying the Merlin, and you've got you've got a wing. So I could easily see that with this type of AI. this AI development that they're working on. I'll now finish up the Road to Pyro. This is Road to Pyro. They're showing off more and more to things that they're introducing and showing us what's happening as they're getting ready to push Pyro. Now they're showing us points of interest that leads up to exploration. So you have things to do when you get the Pyro, things to find, things to discover and explore. And that's a big thing because you don't want to put Pyro in there. What am I going to do when I get to Pyro? Here's some things that you can go do. You can go find these derelict stations, and I think you mentioned it, Pops, of salvaging and looting and things like that. So there's a lot of things that are going to come about with just these little additions that we see. And like I said, what's the road to Pyro? This is the road to Pyro. They could just not show us, but then people would be like, where's Pyro? I haven't seen anything about Pyro. You guys won't talk about it. But then they'll talk about it and they're like, well, where's it at? We don't want to hear about it. Just give us Pyro. It's like, which way, what do you want? It's like one way or the other, you can't have your cake and eat it too. So it's it's one of those things. But I really, really interested in seeing these AI mechanics come to fruition. Collision is a big deal too. Like you said, Kalrati, if I've got AI on board of a ship, they've got to be able to maneuver around the ship and each other in order to get where they need to go. And this is just an added work on that particular system. Otherwise, we'd all be screaming, why do the NPCs walk through each other as opposed to walk around each other? Well, they got to develop the system so that they can walk around each other. And the current iteration right now is that they just walk through each other, but they're putting things together. So I was very interested by this particular ISC, especially this last part. So
may I ask a question, if that's okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I wanted to ask DK, because since you, like I said, you are a flight person, and Nomad touched on this. It was probably, I think, a few weeks ago, where he mentioned about the auto landing system would be a nice feature to have in the game. And I was just really curious, you being the flight person, again, bringing that back. How do you feel about it? And, because I'm seeing what they're doing here may have impact on that. I'm curious.
Auto land should definitely be a feature. And because auto land's a feature now. So I would think that 950 years into the future that, auto land would probably be a thing, as well as autopilot. It's just like, if I can autopilot a plane right now and land a 747 at O'Hare without touching the controls, I'm pretty sure I could probably do that in the game.
Well, no,
in
because there's no
years in the
AI,
future.
remember?
That's not
That's
AI.
not AI.
That's autopilot. Completely two different things.
Yep,
And I hear anybody say that, I'm just gonna be like, you don't understand what AI is. Now, AI would probably, in that instance, AI would, would completely control the aircraft from takeoff to landing, and you would not touch the controls at all.
DK, do me a favor. Let's talk a little bit about, because you and I do flight simulator, and we've also got aviation background. Let's talk about, there are certain reasons why you auto land and don't. There are times when you don't do it as well.
Yep, exactly. There are times when you're running an auto land, there's a situation where you would do it. Manual landings is the norm. The plane will line itself up to the runway using what's called an ILS system. It's an instrument landing system, and or RNAV, which is a radio navigation system. The planes will line themselves up, get themselves into position, but unless the conditions are a certain way, auto land is not used. When you get down to about 1,000 feet, a lot of the times the pilots will turn off the autopilot and then bring the aircraft down on the glide slope. Pretty much the aircraft is already in glide slope, so all they have to do is turn it off and just hold the controls in the position of where they are, and the plane will just glide itself down. In the instances of very low visibility, there's two options. Once they get down to a certain point, If they are able to see the runway, then they can get a little bit closer on autopilot, but then disable the autopilot closer to the ground. If they are in a very low visibility or almost zero visibility, if the aircraft has the ability to auto land and the conditions are on the runway themselves are okay, then they can institute a category 3 auto land where the aircraft will bring itself down, touch down, flare, and brake once it gets down to the ground, and it will also hold itself centerline on the runway. The only action that the pilot would have was to pull reverse thrusters. In conditions and if the aircraft itself does not have the ability to auto land and the conditions are so negative that there is almost zero visibility, it's a go around situation. And there is no landing. At that point, you have to either go to an alternate or you have to circle. Most likely go to an alternate. But yeah, and sometimes for the larger jets, so you're talking 747, A330, 777, those aircraft, they can use auto land even in normal conditions, but it largely depends on the state of, I don't want to, what's the word I kind of want to use? I can't think of the word, but even if the conditions aren't as bad as they could be, if like say a zero visibility, they can use auto land, but it's at the discretion of the pilot and whether or not the airport is allowing them to auto land in normal conditions. So it's a glide, slip, slippery, slope, reload. But
you've had those cases before sometimes where you get redirected somewhere else because weather conditions are so bad that you can't do it no matter what, or it's not safe to do it. That's really what it comes down to.
Exactly.
But weather conditions can have a tremendous effect on being able to use auto landing. Jay mentioned about IFR, and there's two different rules. There's VFR and IFR, and basically visual flight rules and instrument flight rules. It's basically, if you can see really well, it's a clear day, you're VFR. If there's something that inhibits your view, nighttime flight, fog, whatever it is, then you're relying on instrumentation to do that. So, it to your point, Pops, let me go outside of the real world and talk about what does Chris Roberts want us to do, which is two different things, right?
Right.
That landing aspect is great. Being able to come in right beforehand. Sometimes, like, we've talked about, some of us have used, I think last week I was saying I may have used auto land 10% in the last 2 years. I mean, just rarely do I ever use it, right? Mostly because it was janky too. Some of you all know how you do auto land and spin your ship into a 180 and you slam into a wall. So that was another reason not to use it. But the other factor is that Chris does want things to be challenging for us to do. So when you land on that moon that has winds whipping at a certain knots and speed, you can forget the auto land aspect. You're going to decide whether to land there, take a chance, not land there, land someplace else, maybe have to move the stuff with vehicles. There's a whole lot of other reasons why I think that they're going to not make things that easy. Now, this was for NPCs. This thing that they were showing was just strictly so that when NPCs are flying in, what was happening was, as they were scanning the ground, if they happened to scan a big rock in front of them, the ship would jump because of that rock. Now they just want it to be where it's a smooth path coming in and it looks more natural, and you don't get the jankiness because it was just basically conforming to the terrain. And if it just happened to be a big boulder or a drop off, you see the ship drop down quickly or go up quickly. And this was supposed to address that particular issue.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Last but not least, Fit to Face. What are your thoughts?
All right. So everybody talked about the ships, pathing ways, which is great. But I want to direct our attention to what's in those pips. Because to make those NPCs about to smash that vending machine, it's got to be putting something in them. I mean, you got to think about it. That NPC almost tore down that vending machine, came back naked to come and get one.
Hey,
I want you to think about that. I want you to think about that.
Listen, there's some people like that about their coffee in the morning, Jack.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I want y'all to really think about that for a minute. Like, literally. That NPC tore it down and came back naked just to get one.
That's good.
That made me think. I have a new idea for a new career path. How about vending repair technician?
There you go.
You think that would be
Okay.
something you need in the Star Citizen universe?
There you go.
With that salvage gun out. And
Yeah, but that's always good. You wouldn't need to pay anything. No, some of the things that I liked about the latter half of the IST was the collision resolver interests me. I don't know when that's going to go in. Hopefully soon, because I would love to see that in the game. I wish more games would have something like that. In fact, when you saw those NPCs gathering around that body on the ground, I want to say dead body, but we don't know if it's dead or not. But that made me think of Star Citizen, Fluid Edition, who done it? Like they're going to investigate that person's death or whatever happened to that person. Also, I just got to give good props for that whole view about that AI at the vending machine. I enjoyed it. So whatever anyone else said, Jared, I enjoyed it. So yeah. My last question is, I wonder what Jared has been taken away from to work on ISC. Not messing with you, go mad. I love you, man. Yeah, Griffin, what are your thoughts?
Nothing. Just great to see the interaction of the AI. Obviously, we've been looking at those vending machines sitting still for a long time. The fact that I want them to start work, that's the other thing. I want the vending machines to start working too, which would be really cool. DK, could you do me a favor, mute buddy? You're clicking
sorry
through.
about that.
No problem. That's probably the one thing I liked. Of course, the obstacle thing. That was pretty cool to see. Definitely curious about whatever that final thing was that we saw there with the ship passing through at the very end. They said they'll show it to us later in the year, which means that whatever it is, as you all know, my theories about Pyro, I'm hoping that it's something.
My question is it Pyro or Squadron 42?
They are real tight-lipped about showing Squadron 42 stuff, video stuff. Pictures, maybe, but I don't know. You know how they are about showing Squadron.
Yeah,
they won't even talk about it. So, later this year. Now, maybe again, who knows, right? I mean, if they decide to show us something about Squadron this year, or a trailer for next year's release, or whatever, maybe it is. You might be right.
It does kind of look like the coil, so
it did. But I don't know. We'll see. That's it.
All right. So up next we have our Machinima. Griffin, you want to tell people about this?
Sure, I can tell you guys about this one. I haven't watched it again, so we'll see how it goes. No, I'm just kidding. I haven't watched this one, but I'm not worried about this one because this is a continuation of the series that we had started. I don't know how long ago it was when we did this. The Emergence series. You guys remember we were doing Emergence? So this is part 4, and this just came out a few days ago. They sent us a message saying, "Hey, our next piece is out," and so we wanted to kind of follow up on Emergence. So yeah, that's it.
All right, here we go. Emergence part 4.
250,000 lives in a few seconds. The result of the Monarch's first great demonstration of power. Lorville simply wiped out, pulverized into dust. Our answer followed at the same time. The UEE launched the largest military offensive in the history of its existence. 90% of the fleet's units were assembled in the Stanton system to face the enemy. All available resources were deployed to deal with the situation. Unfortunately, in vain. Nine days after which it became quiet again. Over 7 million soldiers killed or missed in action. Our great army, nothing but dozens of debris fields scattered in the vastness of space. We called it the 9 Days of Shame. Our enemy, well, it wasn't what we thought. We were not facing a superior force of aliens, but only one aggressor. The monarch Ka-Agul, proud emissary of the Cathilians, an ancient race of conquerors who have been invading and exploiting galaxy after galaxy for thousands of years. Accompanied by a huge army of machines, the monarch quickly made it clear to us that from now on, we belong to an endangered species. One star system after the other was conquered by the monarch. Whoever did not submit to the will of Ka-Agul was hunted down and exterminated. 6 months after the arrival of the Cathilians, they stood at the gates of the Sol system. With Earth, the last resistance of humanity, also fell. From now on, we were slaves, condemned to exploit our systems for the Cathilians. All other races met the same fate. The Vandal followed not 3 months later, so did the Banu and the Shan. Through the jump gate built next to the remains that were once Hurston, the direct link to the Cathilian homeworld was maintained. We just called it the Maw. A small remnant of resistance fighters organized themselves in the Rim systems to find a way to continue fighting the monarch and his mechanized followers. So far, unfortunately, without significant success. Well, until now.
Welcome back, Mr. Kruger.
Thank you, Alex. Yes, dinner is provided. A wonderful cactus stew, just like it has been for the last few months. Oh, and we have bugs in the front yard.
I'm sorry, what?
The Cath, about 10 miles north of our position. They're building a new mining facility. What's the status of our cloaking system?
The system analysis registers slight voltage spikes in emitter 12. The cloaking field has an effectiveness of 98.6%, so everything is in the green.
Glad to hear it. I'll still take a look at the emitter after lunch, cause I don't want suddenly find myself in front of the Cath without camouflage. Especially since our last trip.
Intercepting and robbing a Cathillian supply ship in monitored space is not exactly a course of action that has improved our situation. We are ranked 17th most wanted criminal in the United Cathillian star systems.
Without the stone hedanite, I probably wouldn't have been able to buy you the new AI core you eagerly wanted.
Without the new hardware, I wouldn't be able to bypass the Cathillian security systems to protect us from potential threats.
Yes. For you, of course, always the best. What's our current bounty?
Not our bounty. You are the only one in the tracking systems. Currently, you stand at 350,000 credits. So, I could get comfortable with that amount in the meantime.
Alex, never forget who rescued you from the Starfarer wreckage that time and took you with me.
Yeah, a lovely ship before you crashed it on Microtech.
Go ahead and poke at the old wounds. I don't care, and I'm going to make my dinner for once.
Alright, Mr. Kruger.
Oh, and Alex, after 20 years, you could finally call me Carl.
I'll think about it.
My esteemed monarch, to what do I owe the honor of receiving you?
It has been brought to my knowledge that the yield of this mining facility has been about 15% below the specified quota for the past 2 months. Since I was in the area anyway, I wanted to come and see for myself.
We have encountered a hard rock layer at the depth of about 150 meters. Our mining machines are having the difficulty penetrating it. With more workers and better equipment, we can recover the
What's your name?
I'm Foreman Michelle Anderson.
Well, Foreman Anderson, when I incorporated your systems and culture into our great empire, I came across one of the most impressive achievements your species has ever produced. I stole this precious piece from the cold, dead hands of one of your leaders in the battle for planet Earth. It was a pocket watch from the 19th century, so simple yet so efficient in what it was meant to do. See, Foreman Anderson, my work can be compared to this watch. Many cogs work together perfectly to end up doing what you are meant to do. You are lucky to be a cog in that clockwork, and I would hate to have to put in a new one.
I guarantee you that we will meet your expectations 100% this month.
That's good to hear. I would hate to have to pay you another visit, and I think it goes without saying that they'll make up for the losses of the last 2 months.
The relay should be working fine now.
Starting system diagnostics. All emitters show 100% power. While you were busy repairing, I received an encrypted message. Unfortunately, I was unable to trace the original signal.
What does the message contain?
Coordinates near Yella, and a single sentence. The favor is now called in.
Kingsley, you old crook.
Excuse me?
Remember, the data we sent when we first met the Cath.
Yes, the recipient was Dr. Samuel Kingsley, former head of the UEE Research Department.
He's the only person I still owe a favor. Well, let's get going. Is the Andorra ready?
I'll quickly check my subsystems, then we can get underway.
Who says I'm taking you with me?
Mr. Kruger, you're already overwhelmed with yourself without me.
Yeah, that's a point.
I have calculated the course according to Yella. We can start the quantum drive now.
Activating quantum drive in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, we're back. Let's go in order. I'm a Kusanagi. What are your thoughts?
Pretty good. Certainly different than what I was expecting, I guess. Yeah, it kind of threw me for a loop there at the beginning. But it's interesting to see, I guess, someone's take on what the universe could turn into. Yeah, I like the ending. I like the music at the end and the little joke at the end. But it'd be nice to have AI be that responsive in the game for ship systems, but that probably won't happen.
We voted for Addison for a reason.
Yeah.
It's just taking too long.
Well, these things take time. Yeah, that explosion that's coming up next. I said in YouTube chat, anyone not wearing 2 million SP sunblock had a bad day.
What is that from? I know that.
Terminator 2.
Oh, yeah, the kid.
Sarah Connor said it.
No, isn't it the boy?
No, it was Sarah.
Sarah Connor.
Was it?
Sarah said it. Yep. She said it.
All right, Dark Knight, what are your thoughts?
I like the visual effects in this were pretty cool. I think if I recall, we saw another a precursor to this, right? Because I remember
we saw the first 3 episodes
there. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. And
when it ended, we saw their mothership
saw
come through
the
the gate,
mothership.
and that was it, and it cut off.
Yeah.
And then it picked up there.
Very cool visual effects. I like the way they incorporated their CGI within the Star Citizen universe and made it work together. And I thought that was just really cool. And bye Hurston.
Right.
I like to see Lorville got it blown up. But yeah, I mean,
the right city,
and it
right?
seemed like they did pick the right city. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
All those people.
it seems that they did a little more fine tuning with some aspects, such as the VoIP, and that it was very clear that the movements of the mouths when they were talking was a lot more fluid than previously. It wasn't as janky. I don't know if they used different cameras or different lighting or something like that when they were
Probably better
actually
lighting.
recording their. Yeah, could it be better lighting? So I found that to be really cool. Seems the story is kind of driving along now, so it's starting to feel like it's picking up a pace a little bit. Just it is. I almost feel like I want to go back and watch the previous ones again, just so I can refresh my mind on all the aspects of the story. But I find it really cool, that this new race comes in and just takes everybody, in the entire Star Citizen universe. Even the Van Duel, that everybody gets taken hostage by this alien race that comes out of these. What did they call it? The orb, or what did they called it? Yeah, I thought it was cool, really cool. I like the music too. The music.
What was the name of
Very well done.
the ED kind of? They have a similar ship design, and that's what the first thing I thought
Stargoid?
of.
Stargoid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt a
Mhm.
little bit like, is that like an ED like thing at Star Citizen? And then like it just kind of kept going forward. I'm like, okay, maybe not.
Oh, it's just biome organic. Looks like it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mr. Face, what are your thoughts?
Oh man, it was really good, man. I liked it. It was cool. One thing though I want to say though about this was that it kind of made me look forward to some large scale battles in the verse, because I really want to see that happen.
How do you define large scale? How many people?
I mean, you know what? Let me just throw that out. Let's take your test squadron, your 20,000 testes, and put them out there.
Nope.
Nope.
You don't want that. That's not a war. That's a fiasco. You don't want that.
Yeah, Tess will be too busy shooting our own friendly fire. Will probably take more casualties than
Oh my goodness. Oh man. But I'm just saying, it just, when you look at it, you look when I first saw them, all of those ships coming out there, it made me think of comparative to other MMOs, you have what you call world bosses.
Okay.
And we have yet to have something of we have an event like that, which is Threat and Nine Tails, but I'm talking about something on a really big large scale. Once all of the mechanics of the game really comes in. And
the thing is that I don't know how CIG or anyone can figure out how like a small ship like maybe an Arrow or a Gladius can contend with something bigger like an Andromeda or something bigger, because I mean, if you have a certain ship of a certain class, the boss mob, the certain ships will be too vulnerable to it in my estimation.
Yeah, of course. I think the arrows and they'll have their places, in combat. Maybe atmosphere combat, some things like that, or whatever. So.
All right. Go, Matt. What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I really like the intro reel. I don't know, it just made it feel official, like a ref with a whistle. I don't know if he jacked that sound it sounded really familiar, but it could have been recreated to have the same feel. You know how the MGM or the Paramounts and stuff like that when you go catch a movie. But I don't know. I don't know if they, I can't say, oh, he got that from this, or did he have somebody kind of say, hey, I need you to recreate that feeling. So that was cool. That was a good way to start it out. It was great storytelling. You know, it was appreciate the imagination of bringing an entirely different race with its own personality. I mean, you know, it's crazy. What was the guy? The Monarch.
Yeah.
Interesting character there, man. And the fact that he's taken over all these systems across all these galaxies, and he coming to check on the production of this one mining facility.
It's
I'm
important.
like, I guess. I mean, you know, but apparently it's just him and the machines.
Yeah.
So he ain't got nobody.
They say Cathilians with an S on the end, so maybe it's just one of him, but we only see him.
Well, I think, well, because they said we thought it was this new alien race, but it was actually just one guy. That's the only one you see, and he controls all these machines and goes around just conquering other races. You know, so that was interesting. That's the first time I've seen anything like that, where it's just one person, just, you know, fulfilling his sick fantasy.
He must be very lonely.
I guess so. You know, he got his battery operated boyfriends over there, but that's about it.
Jade, what are your thoughts?
Okay. I would give them super high marks, 100% for ambition. You know, having a whole intergalactic alien species that you've created, and you've created some lore for it, and you have them come into the Star Citizen universe, and they're like, yeah, well, we're in charge now, you know. And it's just one, like Gomez was saying, they said it's just one. That's fantastic. The only issue, like, I have visually with it is that this really shows you how well Star Citizen assets are done, because when you look and see the stuff that they've composited in, it's almost like you're looking at two games superimposed, and one has like kind of lo-fi graphics compared to Star Citizen. So, you know, once you get past that, it is kind of jarring. But like, again, if you're going to do something that's ambitious, you have to be able to put in, you know, a bunch of javelins and put in, you know, some aliens that don't exist. And so I give them high marks for that. I would just say that the pacing of this could have been faster. It seemed like there were a lot of really long shots of somebody walking, somebody driving, somebody flying. And I mean, you can tell a story and still have really cool shots. But it just seems like, you know, the pacing just, it could pick up the pace a little, right? This scene here I'm watching right now, where this drone is like looking at almost directly at the protagonist. It's like, okay, they can conquer galaxies, but they don't have FLIR. They don't have forward-looking infrared. They don't see a guy behind a rock. Come on, that strains, you know, the believability for me. But other than that, I mean, this is phenomenal. Just like I said, just in the scope of what they're trying to do, as it being a mini series, and you know, I just give them high marks. So yeah. That's
Well,
all.
the reason why the drone didn't pick him up is because of that. He's wearing dust just like the environment. He's blending in. He's camouflage. That's the word I'm looking for. Camouflage.
Yeah, but you could still see him on infrared.
Kamadi, what are your thoughts?
I think they did a really good job on the backstory there. It's something that I've been really eager to see much later on, in case like we have these these short campaign missions in Star Citizen, where it leads to a much greater kind of dynamic event kind of mission chain, a very long one, and we have these kind of backstories. So it was really nice to see them put that together. The narration I think was really nice, and I really liked the dialogue that the monarch, I think it's called, had with the lady. With how he connected that the importance of the cog and the watch with what he has to do, and how everyone, especially her, has a place, and if you don't, then you're out. So it was really nice to see how he was able to actually talk about that connection. And much props to that dialogue there. So yeah, overall great job.
Austin Space, what are your thoughts?
Oh, let's see. Yeah, I mean, it was great. It was fantastic. The explosion, your comment about the sunblock, that was, it, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was really nice. It was too good. The only thing that's true about the pace, but the only thing that I wish, but it's just a matter of choice, is the accent. I just think that accent is kind of washed out. But you know, but it's great. It's fine. I enjoy the whole thing, and it's just curiosity how they do it. I don't really want to know how they do it because I just want to sit back and enjoy it. And how they meshed it together. Yeah. But being turned into a cogwheel, equivalent to a cogwheel, well, hey, guess it goes with the territory.
Yeah, other than the 2 million sunblock comment, another thing that caught my eye was I saw them using the Driller trailer, a part of it, and it seemed like they messed with the colors a little bit to make it look a little different. But that was basically the Driller trailer for the brand.
And you're not allowed to do that now. You're not allowed to use any of that Squadron stuff at all in the new rules for Machinima. I don't saw them, but yeah.
Ruh-roh, Raggy.
The other thing, I think Carl kind of did the point. They really enunciated the word and everything. It made it look like, if someone wanted to really lift it might have worked, but I think it was a bit overdone. But maybe that's because I do kind of lip read, but maybe that's me. Griffin, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, interesting points. I really like this one. The ambition that Jay talked about is what I think really draws me in. Also, it's the same thing that makes me give them forgiveness for the things that they didn't do. The alien, great design, but not alien enough for me. And this is just my personal. It would have been cooler to me if the alien's voice tones, textures were much more something else other than sounding very human. So I would have wanted that alien to be much more menacing. The sequence that Calrati talked about where they're on the planet and talking to the miner, to your point, GoMab, that person could have been over several sectors, not just that one particular mining facility, which would have expanded it to a bigger reason for coming there. I do like the design of the alien, but I just wish that there was much more of a translator sound of the voice than just sounding very human.
Well, it is 930 years in the future, so maybe.
No. I'm still saying I want to feel it being alien. I don't want them to have a translator that's so good that they sound human. I want that for me to make the person seem more ominous and not equal on a human standpoint. The other thing that I would have liked to have seen, the pacing overall. Story was great, but there are moments where something as simple as even walking through the ship is a slow pace to get somewhere. There's some things that I don't need to see. They're just assumed when something's happening, and you can cut 2 or 3 seconds off something, and I'm still going to feel I'm in that space. I love the fact that the data computers in the MSR were used to talk. I thought that was very cool. The explosion at the beginning was great. Bringing in the new elements, all the sci-fi VFX elements, the ships, the driller sequence where you see the enemy out at the distance. I loved all of that. Even though, like you said, Jade, of course, trying to match it to the game is very difficult. So like you said, but the fact that they tried to do it and you can kind of go along with it because you get the idea, the story kind of let me look over those things.
Yeah.
I love the sequence. I did like the sequence where he was hiding behind the rock, where he ducks and the machine goes up there. But the pacing there even could have been, there's a point where there was building tension, and then there was a point where I kind of knew what was going to happen. I knew the drone was going to go over there. I knew it was going to look around the corner. I knew he wouldn't be there. So, that could have been worked a little bit differently. But overall, as you said earlier, the progression of their videos is getting better and better and better. And the music was great. Sound effects was great. Yeah, I liked it. I liked it.
Something that came to mind just now when you mentioned the drone sequence. It kind of reminded me of Empire Strike Back, Star Wars Imperial drone sequence on Hoth. So maybe that was a callback to that. All right. So I think everyone enjoyed it. Looking forward to the next episode. Yeah, that was episode 4. So I put the link in YouTube chat so people can click on it and check it out for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So up next we have our next shows. So we have Saturday 1 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. UTC. We have Soul Voices. Who's going to be on this week, Griffin?
Our guest this week with us will be Sigelian. Sigelian's going to be joining us as our guest host this week. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Is he going to be making pizza? Because it's about that time.
I don't know. That'll be entirely up to him, whatever he wants to put in his background. But he'll be with us on Saturday. And
Soul Voices, we normally cover things going on in the community, but not like this though, but mostly like Reddit, Spectrum, and the industry as a whole. So that should be an interesting show. And then on Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, midnight UTC, we're talking about the Van Duel, 8 p.m. Eastern. But that's only if 317 doesn't come out tomorrow, but likely it doesn't seem like it's going to come out tomorrow. So the Van Duel. It should be a good show. You got any more comments about Sundays, Griffin? Nope.
Be there.
Yep, be there. And that'll be on our Twitch channel. So twitch.tv/Soul Citizen.
I will say about the 317 thing, it has gotten miles more stable.
The patch that they did was great.
Miles more stable. They have been steadily working out the bugs. It is actually a good playing experience now. I would not be surprised if we got a live patch before the weekend.
Like tomorrow? Or
It could happen. It could happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
If they keep working hard and push maybe one more out, it might happen.
Yeah, and they've done that before, right? We're past Z now, right? And we've only gone past Z twice, and in the modern PTU age. So they're working hard on it. They've worked out a lot of the big game breaking issues. A lot of the stability challenges. I was on there for hours today and didn't get a single 30K. So, the inventory bugs better. I'm not getting the shaky environment that's not there anymore. Bunker missions are working well. So
I got a question for you. What is the modern PTU age and dog years?
Fastcart.
Yes, come out.
On that note.
Yeah, dude.
318, 45 days.
Thank you. So, that's all I wanted. Just a number. So don't forget, everyone, you can become a Soul Bro, Soul Sis, or Soul Mate. Remember, Soul Citizen membership has its privilege. Also, don't forget to follow us on social media. We're on everything. And Soul Citizens on everything these days. So I'm not going to name each one individually. If you want to support us, you can buy our merchandise. We have t-shirts, hats, mugs, game pads, what have you. Don't forget to hit that like button or subscribe to us. And also subscribe to us. We appreciate it. I just want to say thanks to everyone. Thank you to Admiral Kusanagi, Dark Knight, Fix the Face, Nomad, Jade, Karate, Possum Space, and my co-host GriffinGamingrpg, as always. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. So, I just, at the final note, I just gotta say, I love our back and forth. Peace, love, and so take care, everybody.
See you later.
Bye.
I kept thinking about who we gonna raid, but I forget.